friends. Hello. July 15th, 2024, Virtual Strangers episode 217 is on the air. I am your host, Wes. With me, as always, is my good friend, Ruuts. Ruuts, it's Monday again, brother.
Yeah, it's Monday, and we're on. We did it. How crazy. Like, I had issues even during the trailers, or the beginning, trying to... All of a sudden, my Go XLR wasn't working, and I was like, oh, shit, trying to restart it. I had so many technical issues, but, you know, this is start of a new week, so...
Yeah, part for the course has got to be something different, right?
Yeah. And
every week.
That's why Garfield hates Mondays. That's because of technical issues.
Yeah, let's go back to Sunday. I've decided.
That's right. Wes is growing a beard, somebody said, to compete with Ruuts. That's right. Absolutely. Not sure, Brondo.
No one can compete with Ruuts. What are you talking about? I feel like I need to go shave right now just at the suggestion that could possibly happen.
Your wife probably would be like, nah, I like my husband without a beard. Usually that's what ends up happening, right? You go with what your woman wants. And then
it puts years on me, you know, in all fairness. When I start letting this stuff grow, I start looking older. If I let it go another week, I'll probably look 65 next time we're on here.
I like this is the way I look at it. Looking old is in, okay? It means you have common sense. Your head's not up your ass. I mean, it's good. It's good. Typically. I mean, it doesn't mean that there's not some pretty fucked up people out there. That are older, but it just seems like the younger generation, nothing against, actually, if you're watching our show and you're younger, you're not with those people. You're one of the cool ones.
Right.
But, yeah, no, youth is actually really, out of it these days, seemingly. So.
It's the youth gone wild, Ruuts. They're worthless. They can't even hit a headshot from 150 yards.
Oh God, what the hell was he doing, dude? Yeah. I don't know, 150 yards. Don't even get me started. How close is that? That's so close, man. I'm just surprised that, you know, they could sneak up on. Oh, wait. It wasn't a sneak either. This fucking topsy-turvy world.
It gets crazier every week. Not only in the real world, but in the VR world.
Oh, yeah.
As well. Did you hear? Like, you know, we've been bitching about the Upload Showcase for so long and how much we miss Jamie Feltham, you know, the glory days back when he did it, that he's just decided that he's just going to do it himself now without Upload VR.
Oh,
Isn't
good.
That crazy?
Well, no, that's not crazy. That means that he's actually, you know, because Upload's sucking so bad. He said, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself. Fuck it. I think it's good. It makes me actually look forward to it again. And SpryGuy, I guess I get a little bit. He says, I'll trade a little common sense for some youth. I don't know. I don't mind. I don't mind getting older. It's just not... I embrace my age. I just enjoy it. I enjoy life. And maybe I won't always feel this way, but I kind of feel like I will.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get bummed out about my age typically. You're only as old as you feel.
Right.
So unless you feel like you're fucking decrepit, then you're probably in pretty good shape. It's just a number, you know.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Scion making a surprise appearance. Hello. We got friends coming back left and right. It's a reunion, Ruuts. Anton Jones is in the chat. Scion's in the chat.
Nice.
Crazy.
That is crazy. Well, I'll tell you what, like SpryGuy is saying to Scion, grip Wednesday nights. You need to be there, Scion. Everybody's racing it up.
Yeah. Almost everybody.
Almost everybody. Yeah, actually, I have not been myself. I've been not gaming that much. I did a lot of gaming today, though, Wes, in preparation for the show.
Yeah, I did quite a bit myself. Yeah, me too. People should be pretty excited for that. I'm pretty excited to talk about it. But we will get to that when the time comes. But I'm excited for the showcase, too, Ruuts, because everything that I'm reading about it points to what we've been saying we want from a independent VR gaming showcase for the last few years. You know, it seems like every time we have one, it's completely watered down with, you know, there'll be good stuff in there, but you have to find it, right? Like, it isn't like obvious when the good stuff's coming and when the App Lab tech demos are coming. But everything I'm reading about this showcase says to me that that if you're not like if it's not something to be excited about, it's probably not going to be on the showcase. That he's dropping names like Vertigo Games and Shell Games, In Dreams, IO Interactive, and using that magical term that we all love to hear, AAA. He keeps talking about AAA VR games.
AAA reveals.
Yes, AAA reveals. It's the kind we like, right?
Yeah, that is the kind we like. And everybody, I guess, is that like, well, I guess AAA in the VR industry, and I'll take it. So,
right, you know that term has many different meanings
to different people.
We don't even really, we don't even use it the correct meaning of it here. We just use it as kind of a quality, overall term of quality. When actually it refers to something very specific in terms of the size and budget of a project. I don't think that that's what Jamie means here when he talks about AAA reveals. I think he's talking about basically the best of the best of independent VR studios. That's why I'm so proud to be among that lineup. Flat to VR Studios is going to have some stuff on there as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. Definitely should be proud of that. That's amazing.
Not sure. Brondo says I embrace turning 50-ish today. Is it your
birthday,
Brondo?
Yeah,
happy birthday. Ghost Shot says I still wish they didn't use the AAA term. How come? Does it bum you out, or do you just don't like it because it's not technically correct with the textbook definition of AAA?
It just depends on what you would consider AAA and what you're talking about. And I don't know. The biggest thing that's I get irritated with, and I've been guilty of it in the past, but I just don't want to hear any more comparisons to real AAA games. Don't tell me Arashi is the
right.
Ghost of Tsushima of VR. It's not. It's its own thing. It's also a disservice to that game, and you're also putting it on a level with such a game that it's not on the level with, and it kind of, I don't know. I don't like it.
Spider-Man with guns.
Yes, exactly. Spider-Man with guns. And how about just Arashi or Swarm 2? Doesn't need to be Spider-Man with guns. But I'm just all over a lot of that stuff. I've been over the open mouth gap fucking thumbnails and just all of it. It just gets to me. Shouldn't, but it
Gabriel 004 makes a good point. At least it's not 4A like Ubisoft.
Yes. Yeah, that is very true. I'll take AAA. I'll take any game over that 4A because it's not. It's like garbage town. So.
Did you actually try it, or did we just avoid it altogether? The 4A Ubisoft game.
No, I did not try I didn't need to try the last one that they put out, the ship game that was supposed to be like Sea of Thieves, but actually isn't even a real pirate game. It's not even a type of game I would want to play. But like everybody that wanted to like it hated it, and it's just it's garbage.
But while we're on the topic of AAA games, it looks like Dee's finally going to get her ultimate VR wish, Ruuts. Did you see that?
I did, to some extent, right?
Yeah. Destiny 2's coming to VR.
Yeah.
Did she hear about it?
I don't know.
She's like super excited, right?
Dee, are you excited about? She's got to be. Yeah, finally we're getting Destiny 2 in VR exactly how we wanted it in Rec Room. I think it's actually really cool collaboration, right? Bungie's a big company.
It's awesome. It says something, or at least I want it to say something, right? Like, why would Bungie do something like that? Like, if they weren't at least somewhat interested in VR. And yes, I know that Rec Room isn't a VR only property. You can play it on flat screens, but it's known as a VR app, right? It's a VR social app. And the fact that they're collaborating with, what is pretty much a pretty small studio and a free to play VR game, Tells me at least to some extent there has to be some interest there in VR, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I want to know? Since we're speaking of Bungie, what the fuck is Destiny 3? Why are we still in Destiny 2? Like this game is so old. I'm at the point I want a new one. Because I gave up on Destiny 2 when they screwed me over out of my character, and they switched over servers. So,
Well, Sony owns Bungie now, so what they're going to do instead of bringing Destiny 3 is they're going to do Destiny remake, and they're going to develop it for 5 years and not mention it the whole time.
that sounds good. Well, we got some time then.
Rypop says that Bungie whores out Destiny to everything. I wouldn't know. I know that it's an ongoing project. I mean, they put out fucking DLC constantly for the thing.
That's true.
At one point, this was like, a big budget AAA exclusive. Well, it wasn't exclusive. A big budget AAA game, and now it's a free to play. Like they'll just give you the base game because there's so much DLC they're trying to sell for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Destiny 3 will be out in 2026. All right. We got it. We got a confirmation date. That's cool. Well, that's what I want. I want the next iteration, and sounds like we're about to get it. Hopefully, it'll be in VR at the same time.
Yeah, I think the gaming industry as a whole is about to, and I don't mean in the next 5 minutes, but over the next couple of years is going to hit a bit of a surge. It's hit a lull when we moved into the latest console generation due to the pandemic and supply line shortages and all of the different kind of metamorphosis that the industry took there for a few years. But I think to end out this console generation, we're going to see some, big titles, big known franchises come back around. Things like Grand Theft Auto, things like Destiny, and we're even seeing kind of a microcosm of that with the VR schedule this year. We've had a bit of a slow season here, but we're about to come out of it, and then the rest of the year is just stacked with stuff that we already know that's coming, and then that's not even considering the things that are in development that haven't been announced yet. But we've got big games coming this year, whether you're talking about Zombie Army or Metro or Batman or Behemoth or Alien. I mean, there's just tons of these big budget games coming out, unless they get delayed, of course, which is always a possibility.
Yeah.
But I think things are about to turn over on a small scale for VR. And over the next 1 to 2 years, I think the gaming industry as a whole is going to follow suit.
Yeah, I agree. And probably just in time for the next lockdown of pandemic or something. Hopefully, I hate to say that because I'm hoping that's not going to be the case. But this world's so topsy turvy. Who knows these days, right? But
well, we're more equipped to deal with that sort of thing now. Even if it were to happen, a lot more people are working remotely now. Like that's why the pandemic had such an impact on the games industry, is because it necessitated a transition to an industry that largely works remotely instead of everyone under the same roof. And we've made that transition now. Now, obviously, some people have gone back to work in the original building, but a good percentage of the jobs in the video games industry now are remote. And that's a good thing, that they should be. Like, we have the technology now that we don't have to be in the same physical space anymore to collaborate and work together. As long as you have a good internet connection and proper technology, then you can work right out of your own home, like I do.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people do. I can't do what I'm doing currently from home. So, but maybe in the future.
Cat Photo Nutter says that October is going to be crazy again. Yeah, probably. They just announced Wanderer. The Wanderer remake's coming out at the end of October. That's another banger that we're getting this year.
You know who loves bangers?
I do.
The more the better. She loves it.
Yeah,
but yeah.
She is a banger.
But yeah, no, I think it's cool. I definitely, I think everything that we just talked about is cool for VR. As far as the Rec Room and Destiny 2, at least for the Rec Room people. So,
I mean, those kids. You think they think they even know what Destiny 2 is?
I think they do, but they probably don't care. I think it's just going to be another event. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's two people that care. I think GameCat, was it GameCat Photo Nutter, or somebody said that they have a problem with this game. They play it too much. Oh, Johnny Rypop, the Stray Cat, says he has 8,000 hours plus. He needs help. I played a lot, actually. D's played a lot. It's a really good game. I'm ready for the next iteration. So
That's a lot of hours.
that is a lot of hours. I've got way more than that in World of Warcraft. Well, maybe not. I don't know. No, I had days. I had days, actually. So I had over a year of actual days of World of Warcraft.
That's crazy, man. That's a lot of grinding. It's a lot of killing
it's a lot of
bears and shit, you know.
A lot of die. Time to Play VR says we lost Zenith. So what do you mean we lost it? Are they closing the door? Are they
they're not shutting down the servers, but they are halting development on it. So it is what it is right now. There will be no further update to it. It's finished.
But they were going to be World of Warcraft. Like, that's what people were telling me. They were like, dude, like, Ruuts, you're just being negative. And I'm like, no, I'm just actually seeing it for what it is. But you're, like you said, it is what it is. Honestly, unless it's on a level of what I'm used to playing anyway, for me, I wouldn't be interested in it anyway. But it was cool.
Well,
it was cool for its time.
Yeah,
You know?
and it's still cool. A cool way to spend time with friends if you like that sort of game. It's just it doesn't have the staying power that it needs to succeed long term in that space. And I think that's what their problem was: is their player counts dropped off to the point where it didn't make any financial sense for them to continue on with it. That they realized that they'd failed in that part of their mission.
Well, they had failed,
but,
Wes, when I said this the first second I heard when people said that they defended them when I was bringing up what I was bringing about Endgame. They said, well, yeah, they're going to get to that later. I said, no, you can't get to that later. That has to be first. You build backwards from that. And that was their biggest mistake. They didn't give anybody anything to do once they got max level. And that's what a game like that's all about, is giving them something to do at max level. The journey is something too, but once you do the journey, you need to have something to do. So,
well, the good news is it's really the first attempt of its kind in VR, and there are going to be others. There are others in development right now. Others that have been around for a little while in development that are about to resurface with significant upgrades. So maybe that can fill the void left behind by Zenith.
Are we talking about that one with the wolf or whatever? Or what was that one that we played? The really rough one?
Kronos? No, it's not going to be
Kronos. Yes. Oh, man.
Oh, was it Kronos? It was, no, what was that thing called? Kronos is good.
No, what is that name of that game? I can't think of what it is. Oh, it was so good, we can't remember.
Chinese MMO game that I don't remember. Yeah. Anyway, RIP Zenith. Again, it's going to be around for a while, and if people are really that upset about it, go play it. I guarantee if everybody went back tomorrow, they'd pick it right back up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So if you're that upset about it and you want to continue on, start playing it again. And I'm sure they'll start developing for it again.
Yeah, that is their point, right? They stopped developing because no one's playing it. So
exactly. Nobody's playing it anymore, so why bother? And it is partially their fault. It isn't just because they timed out and the platform moved on. It's they came to PlayStation VR 2 with a version that really wasn't any improvement over PSVR 1. Right. That was a pretty big blow because a lot of people was playing that game on PSVR1 and wanted to continue on with PSVR2. It's just that they didn't do a very good port. You know, you expect not only for it to be as good, but you expect it to have a significant upgrade, and it just, I don't even think it was as good, you know, from what I'm hearing. Like, it was a downgrade to come to the next gen,
Right.
which makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, being the same is one thing. Having it worse is even worse. But it should be better. You got better hardware, better, you know, headset. There's no excuse except for, I always say laziness, but that's like very short-sighted to me. There's a lot of reasons it could be. But as a consumer, I don't really care what those reasons are. You need to deliver a game that's better than the first one, right? Or the first version on a lesser hardware. Because that's the thing that we forget. Like, it's not as a consumer, it's not my problem to make sure the game comes out better. That's their problem. My problem, what I do is I buy the game. They deliver the game. If they don't deliver the game, then I stop buying the games. And then the studios, you know, they just stop making games, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. Grimrock said it looked worse. So there you go.
Yeah, that's not good.
That is not good. Silence says, I just want time to play VR games. I want to play Riven so badly. I feel you there, man. Hard to make time for gaming these days, but you got to do it.
I got to go into Riven on PC. I think the Quest version was the only one I went into. So
I got to go back to it because I need to help Main Fan. He left a comment on the video, like the Game of the Month video, saying that he got stuck where I got stuck at.
Really?
And then he said that he watched my video to figure out what to do and get past it, but now he's stuck again. So I got to start playing it again. So I'll make another video.
That's daunting as fuck, dude. Yeah, I'm supposed to go on this game. If Main Fan's getting stuck, I'm getting stuck big time. So this is it's cool though. That game, I really was impressed with the small time I did play in there. So I do want to go back to it. That and Seventh Guest. So
yeah, let's just not cover any more new games. Let's just play old ones.
Show's over. Oh wait.
Show's not over. We got a hell of a show today. A lot to talk about. So I think we should probably get to it. Say hello to our friends in chat. Friends like Ryan B is here. Grimrock's here. Time to play VR. Scion. Hello again. Philozix. Philozix says, how's everyone doing in VR lately? Are people playing more flat to VR games now? A lot of people are. And the ones that aren't are building computers so that they can.
Yep.
Old Arth is here. What's up? Ghost Shot in the house as well. Inferno 9 says, I never worked from home one single day during the pandemic. You know what? I didn't either. My job that I had at that time, my factory job, was considered essential. So we had a permit from the government to continue to work. So we never missed a day of work. But now that the pandemic's over, I work from home all the time.
That works for you, right? I never worked from home either, but I got to go into a lot of people's homes. Some of them, I had to wear masks. Some I didn't. If I didn't need to, I never did. And guess what? I never got it, Wes. So, like, I don't know. I guess I'm blessed. And
well, even if you got it, you didn't know it. Like, yeah, I remember you felt a little under the weather a couple times there, but nothing serious, right?
Well, this is the thing. Every year I have a day or two where, I call it a cold. People can call it what they want. An extreme version, a light version. I definitely didn't run out and take a test. So, but I'm not knocking anybody that did. I just didn't feel a need to. Same reason I don't go to the doctor to have them tell me, yeah, you got a runny nose. I remember telling one of my bosses, but way back in the day, they wanted me to bring in a doctor's note. And I told them, fuck you. I'm not going to the doctor spending $100 to have them tell me I'm sick. I know I'm sick. Why would I go to the doctor? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think it's
you need to prove you're not a liar, Ruuts. That's what it's all about.
That's what it was all about. And I told them they could kiss my butt. But,
yeah. You'd think that they would give you some leeway, right? Like a certain amount of sick days that are just yours.
shouldn't
And
matter.
if you take advantage, then and give them a reason not to trust you, now you got to bring doctors into the equation and prove it, right?
Right. I like the setups like Dee's got for her job, where you just have PTO and you can take it off for whatever you want. It's paid time off. Like
Yeah.
it accrues and you take your time off. It's fair. Not everybody wants to take a day off only when they feel like shit. Well, guess what? It's nice out today. I want to go out and I want to go play golf or go to a movie or, go to a park or something and not be at work. So I don't know. It's a crazy world.
Game Cat Photo Nutter in the house. Johnny Rypop, the Stray Cat, here as well. Techno Glitch is here. JPEG Q. Brandon VR is here. Samos in the house. What up? SpryGuy's here. What up? SpryGuy. Let's see here. Gabriel 004 is in the chat. Hussein X, what up, Hussein X? Good to see you. Silver Nexus is here. Tatum is here. Salvador is here. Xbox Game Pass only, bitch. Sometimes PS4 LOL is here. What's up, Brondo? What's up, NS Paul? Mind Jive's here. Escape Portal. Antone Jones says, I missed this fucking show. We should watch it, bro. It's pretty good.
Even the president, remember when he got assassination attempt, Wes said he was going to watch it later, assuming.
And he did.
And he did. I'm sure he did.
Confirm it. Hey, wife, will you text someone in there to tell them to let the dog in, or go let the dog in yourself, please?
Yeah, and Scion says he had it once and it was horrible and never wants to. Thankfully, he's never caught it again. And that's the thing. I'm not negating or downplaying anybody. A lot of people really got sick. You know what I mean? I do feel really blessed that I didn't get as sick as everybody else.
I had it. I had it once, and it was weird, man. It wasn't like a normal sickness. I felt just really tired. Is what it really was. The worst part.
Like mono.
I just felt really, really tired. I was nodding off a lot, which I do anyway, just from sleep deprivation. But it was even worse then, and but it was perfect because it was right before I went to Las Vegas for CES, and was going to be around 300,000 people rubbing elbows.
Perfect timing.
So it was perfect timing. I got it right before that. So as soon as I got better from it and had max immunity, I got on the plane and went to Vegas. It was perfect.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, former president. Absolutely. Definitely former, future, whatever. You can call it whatever you want. Former, currently.
Who else is here? Silver Nexus is here. It's free VR real estate is here as well. Roy Schwartz, what up, homie? Let's see. Scrolling. Mr. Lord Beavis is up there somewhere. What's up, Beavis?
Yeah, I know. I saw his name up there somewhere.
That's as far to the north as we can travel. Let's see if we have any slippies today.
Mickey Bear.
Mickey Barrios is a slippy today. Steve's here. Steve IRE, what's up? I think that might be it. No, Mr. Cherry Man slipping in as well. Q Creator slipping in. Ryan B. So yeah, we got some slippies today. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining. Special episode, Ruuts. Episode we've been looking forward to making for some time, but we haven't been able to talk about it really. But we've known now for quite a while that, well, I guess we should throw to the trailer, right? I forgot I had a trailer set up for this. So
Yeah.
let's just do that and we'll talk about it when we get back. As I was saying, we've known for some time now that bHaptics products were working on compatibility with PlayStation VR2, which is excitement, right? Like, this is the sort of thing that PSVR gamers really, you would think that they would enjoy, right? Because they've always been about building immersion. That's typically when you ask a PlayStation gamer why they chose to play on that platform. It's because it's the most immersive, right? There's extra haptics and stuff in the controllers and in the headset. They've got the triggers, all of that. So this seems like something that would be right down the alley of the gaming enthusiasts that play on the PlayStation platform. But I always kind of wondered, Ruuts, how's it going to work? Because, Sony historically is a very closed platform. It isn't something that you see a lot of third party accessories for. It's always stuff that they put out their own accessories. So I've always kind of been skeptical whether or not anybody would even be able to release something like this on PlayStation. And if they did, skeptical about how well it would work. But I'm happy to say that having tested it for a little while now, that it actually works quite well. It works through a mobile app that works as a conduit. The equipment talks to your phone talks to your PlayStation, all through the same wireless network, and it works really well, doesn't it? Or it did for me. I didn't ask you. I haven't talked to you about this yet. Did it work for as well for you as it did for me?
What's funny is, I when we first went to set it up, and you're doing the directions, and I'm looking at the pamphlet, and I'm like, man, this is a lot of shit. And then after I do it, I'm like, this is actually really not a lot of shit. You really literally download the app, you sync your 3 items, is what we have, the chest and the 2 wrist things. And then once it's synced, you just hit the play button, right? And then it doesn't matter. You could go from one game to the next and it just works, right? I went back into today and thought, okay, I'm going to have to do something weird. Turned on my stuff, hit the play button, and it just worked. It's exactly what you would want out of something like this, because, Wes, I'm here to say that the friction of putting on the vest and the wrists doesn't exist either. That was in my mind. I thought this would be a thing as well, but it literally takes half a second and they strap on so easy, and then you're strapped in, and now you've got that same extra immersion that everybody loves with the head visor and in the controllers, but now on your wrists and also your chest and back, which is really crucial for a lot of these games. As you're things are hitting you from behind. I didn't even know things were hitting me from behind. That was one of Mash's biggest gripes about big shots, is getting hit from behind by something. Yeah. And now you're like, fuck, man, something's on me, and you're spinning around shooting them. So yeah.
Yeah, that did kind of help with big shots, which we'll talk about a little bit in a moment. But yeah, it does make for quite a package with the stuff that's already kind of built into the PlayStation platform. So bHaptics sent us each a review kit for the X40 vest and the tacticy for the arms. That they didn't send us the hands or the feet or the face thing. And I was kind of wondering to myself, why wouldn't they send us the face thing? Why wouldn't they send us the hands? And then I got playing on PlayStation. I realized exactly why they didn't, because we don't need it. That stuff's already built into the PlayStation, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that was one of the takeaways too, because I'm playing these games and I'm looking for the haptics, right? And I'm like feeling haptics all over, but it made me really appreciate how much haptics is in those fucking controllers too, man. Like, so many times I'm thinking, okay, there's haptics. No, wait, that's the controllers. That's not the wrist thing. But it's the combination, right? It just adds a lot to it, and it's definitely an experience.
Yeah. So there's a lot that goes into these. I'm glad that I get to talk to you about this today, because you're in a unique perspective here, as this is your first time ever using the vest at all. Like I've used it before on PC, so I have a kind of a base understanding of it, but this is all new for you. So did you notice just how kind of refined the haptics effects are when you go from one game to the next, or even in the same game, doing one thing versus another? For example, in Breachers, when you kind of jump off a ledge and you fall a little bit and you just land on the ground, it isn't like a super overt effect, but it gives you a really light bump in the furthest like down part of your back. And it's kind of cool, because that's exactly in real life where you would be feeling pressure if you jumped down and landed like that. But there's a lot of different effects that they can create with these vests that literally have 40 different points of haptic on it. And it isn't just plain rumble, isn't it? Like that they really put time into developing different effects depending upon what you're doing in the game.
Yeah, every game, and like you said, every game was unique, and Dee's been using it as well for PC. She hasn't tried the PlayStation, but she tried it on Light Brigade. And like when you get low on your health, your heart is beating, and like little things that really are cool are a big deal. I just think that they have a unique opportunity to really make each game their own. And my biggest hope for this thing, and I'm sure this is the case, but like I'd love to see this be for every game at some point. And I don't know what that takes, or if that's even feasible. But can you imagine where you just put this thing on and every game you're going to go into is going to work? Because I know it's going to be something that they add to, and they got to start somewhere, and they started with these 4, and these are good games to start with. And so I'm interested to see how far it goes as far as adaptability, So
yeah, I think let's talk a little bit about that compatibility, because they did a great job with this mobile app of making it almost exactly like the PC experience. The only difference between playing on PlayStation with the phone and playing through your computer with the computer app is on your phone. When you start your PlayStation, you have to hit that play button on your phone, whereas your PC just automatically fires up when you start your computer. But it's the same after that, which means that you can hop from game to game to game. It's automatically going to detect when you're in a game that supports it, and it's just going to work. So that's pretty awesome. And while there is, like Ruuts said, only 4 games that it supports on launch with PlayStation, there are many, many more that are on the way, and it's not going to take them long to convert this stuff, because they already have dozens and dozens and dozens of these PlayStation games that have profiles on PC. So they're just going to have to bring that stuff over, a game at a time on the developer end. So it's going to be up to the studios to implement bHaptics into their PlayStation version. But that's not going to take very long. The hard part's done. The hard part is working out the profile and creating all of the different effects to correlate with what you're doing in game.
So I got a question for you because I see in chat D says she would love to see Switchback with support for that
That's
game.
good.
Yeah,
That'd be
that's a really good one. What would your dream game be? Like, what would a game that you, if you could, if they, bHaptics said, Wes, we're going to make whatever game you want, we're going to make it happen. What would you choose?
I mean, Switchback's a good one. I would probably say my favorite games on the platform, right? Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 8, and Vertigo 2 would probably be the ones I would pick.
And I think Vertigo 2 is going to have it. Isn't that? I'm pretty sure that was one of the ones that it's on
Yep.
PC. So,
Yeah. I would say Madison as well. Madison isn't as much of an action game as those others, but they can do some really interesting things for horror games. For example, Wraith the Oblivion Afterlife on PC has a ton of cool effects that it uses. I don't know how much you remember about that game, but you remember how you could kind of point your arm at your destination where you should be going, and the veins would start glowing in your arm,
yeah.
and you'd get that vibration in the controller. So that works through the vest as well. And then there's this other effect, like when you see one of those apparitions or something supernatural, it literally sends shivers up your spine. That's the effect. It starts at the base of your spine and goes up to your neck.
That would be perfect.
It's really cool.
What about
So stuff like
Synapse?
that.
Synapse?
Synapse. Yeah, that
Okay.
would be perfect. That'd be a great one.
A GameCat Photo Nutter saying that, and I was thinking, yeah, just on those wrists, because that was my biggest takeaway. I didn't think the wrist would be that big a deal, but in some instances, they blew me away more than the vest itself,
Yep.
because it was so like everything that you're using with your hands, guns, swords, whatever. You're getting all sorts of feedback, blocking with a shield. Like it's just super cool.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is like with the wrists specifically. I think they were more impactful in Legendary Tales than the vest was, which is saying something, right? Because they have two. Each one of these things has 2 points in it, I think, compared to the 40 in the vest. But the vest, and it might change, as you play deeper into the game. I didn't go super far with it. I played maybe 90 minutes, if not Legendary Tales with it on. But everything that you like hit with your sword or anything, you can feel that in your arms, but you pretty much have to take damage to feel it in your chest in that game.
Right.
But it did add another layer of immersion to what was already just a super immersive game. I believe this is your first time even trying Legendary Tales since the big update. What did you think about it?
Well, I was just telling D this. Like my first time I went into the other day, I just did the tutorial and stuff. And I thought it was okay. It was pretty cool. I was really just checking out the vest and checking out the haptics and stuff. And then today I went and actually started, because I got to that town and then I quit. Well, today I started and I was like, I don't know where to go. And I was like, oh, I guess I'll just start roaming. I started roaming around and I started exploring and actually working my way through killing stuff. And I was like, wow, this is actually pretty cool. And I was really enjoying it. Especially like the shield, like I said, the using the haptics and the wrist thing. Every time they hit the shield, I could feel it in there. But it wasn't like you say, okay, so every time something hits, and well, like when I did my sword, I didn't feel it in my wrist, right? Only when I'm like everything's different. So it was like I just think it did add something to it, right? So
yeah, and then, it was this game that really made me come around on the wrists because I wasn't a fan at first. They don't really tell you how to wear them properly. Like you strap them on like a blood pressure cuff, right? But they don't tell you where you're supposed to put them on your arm or how you're supposed to orient them. They have like a battery on one side and then the clasp on the other. And there isn't really any kind of instruction on how you're supposed to put them on. Um, After a while, I've found, what works for me is to really just put them down by your wrist, with the batteries pointed upwards. That's the way I wore them.
Somebody
And after
started. I was hearing that it's supposed to be more on your forearm, not your wrist as much, because the wrist felt really like it wanted to flop around a lot, or the weight felt really weird. So I kind of moved them a little bit more up on my forearm a little bit.
Well, when I would move them up on my forearm, they would just slide down. Like I guess where your arm is tapered and it gets kind of smaller towards your wrist. They would just end up sliding down toward the wrist anyway, and then just kind of be loose on there. So I just that's where I started putting them at, and then they didn't move after I put them down there and tightened them up. But that's just how I wore them. Like I'm sure everyone's going to find their own thing, but I found them to be a little bit cumbersome at first, and I was kind of wondering to myself, is it going to be worth the friction to use these? Those legendary tales that really kind of turned me around on it, because you do get used to it pretty quickly, right? After you've had them on for a little while, then you don't really think about it so long as they're secured and not moving around.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just making sure that it's secure on there, and then it's not going to be flopping around. I said Grimrock said it's nice to know where the arrows are coming from, and that's the other thing, and it's pretty much for every game, knowing where enemies are, because there's so many games where you're getting hit in the back and you don't know, and you know what I mean, or you don't know that that's where you're getting hit. You know you're getting hit, but now you can know it's in your back, which is nice. So
yeah, and it's a whole nother. That's the thing that makes it kind of hard for people to understand that haven't tried it. Is it isn't like its own thing, like everything else in VR. It adds to the whole, right? So not only do you have this kind of spatial awareness now from your sense of touch, but that works in tandem with your spatial audio to really kind of immerse you and put you more in the environment than what you typically would be. Hellsweeper was probably the one I spent the most time playing, and I don't know if they've just rebalanced this Ruuts since I played it before, or if I'm just more tuned into the game now because of the vest, or what, but I had to quit playing Hellsweeper. I had to stop my run because I just wasn't dying. Like I boosted up my pistol till it was a fucking mean killing machine, and I just kept playing with it, man, and I was having a blast.
Who else loves to play? Can't stop playing with it and it has a blast.
Right.
My mom.
You know what's funny is I had the same experience. I just want to ask you though, did you ever have an issue with your gun floating away when you like went to reload and all of a sudden it's like a distance away from you, and it's like, because now you didn't probably do two guns at once. I did, because that one of the perks that you get gives you a bonus to your damage and to your shielding if you dual wield, and I like to use the guns. But I'd go to do my flip, and then it would do some weird stuff, and it really made me feel like I wish I was playing it on PC with my pro controllers, because this shit doesn't happen on my pro controllers with games. I don't have weird stuff like that, but maybe wasn't the issue. It was just weird. But
yeah, I didn't have any tracking issues. What you might have been doing is, if you click in your thumbstick on accident, it activates your levitation magic automatically, and whatever you're holding in your hand will float out from your hand.
Oh, well, then never mind. Yeah, the mechanic is working as intended. I didn't even know that was a thing. I knew I had levitation, but I didn't know how or what that was. So I just need to be more careful, or not have levitation. But no, I was actually really impressed, Wes. I was telling Dee, this is actually way better than I remember it being. That was my only gripe, was the gun was
Right.
doing weird stuff. I literally had to stop myself in a run from playing as well, because it was just cool.
Yeah, I just kept going. And how cool was the haptic effect when you jump into the portals to go to the levels? Like, that was probably my favorite thing that the vest did the whole time.
Yeah, that you get that because it would be all like doing a weird vibration thing. Even just when you would teleport, you'd get it like a regular teleport thing. You get a whoosh. But yeah, no, this
Yeah.
is definitely a good haptics for everything. So
Good recoil on the pistol. That starts in the controller, goes back through the wrist, and then to the vest, but only on the side of the vest that you're holding the gun, which is, I felt, was a really cool, refined effect that they had programmed in there. As I was someone who primarily played as with the guns. I wish I had done the magic more, um, to see what that felt like. Did you try any of the magic,
I,
like the fire
I
magic or
did the
anything?
fire. I didn't feel like I can't remember there being too much haptics with it. Probably when I threw a little bit on the wrist. Um, but I used the gun the most. Some of the sword. Uh, but yeah, no, the haptics were good in this as well, especially when things were hitting you from behind. And then like you said, shooting a gun, you just having that initial burst and then having it in the chest as well was really cool.
Old Darth wants to know if using the audio mode will work with PSVR2 games. Yeah, yeah, you can use the audio mode with anything. It basically, you just plug a audio cable. It has like a headphone jack on it, and it converts whatever sound goes into that into vibration. You can use that just listening to music. If you want to really feel the music that you're listening to, it'll work for that. Um, I didn't play with the audio mode all that much, but I know AJ, um, he had his vest and was using it even well before I even started using
Mm.
mine, for PSVR2, that is. And before it really even had any usable profiles on it, he was playing games, PSVR2 games, with just the audio mode. And there were certain games that it worked very well for. For example, and I have to try this, I haven't tried it yet, Ruuts, but he said that if you use your haptics vest and play Gran Turismo with the audio mode,
Really?
and with a wheel and pedal and the vest with the audio mode, that it's just fucking awesome, because the roar of the cars and the engine really, you can feel it through your chest and back a lot. And he said it was just great.
That is cool.
Shades of Gray Matter has a good point. Res Infinite, um, I'm sure would be great. Think about Tetris Effect Roots, or Thumper. All of those like super audio heavy games.
Mm.
I'd say the audio mode would work wonders for those.
Mash's favorite, Beat Saber? Well, maybe not.
There you go. Um,
Yeah, that'd be
anyway, no,
cool.
no, it was a great experience, and I probably should play up around with the audio mode a lot more. Um, moving on to Big Shots. This is a game that I wasn't a really big fan of when it came out. Like, I didn't hate it or anything, but um, I didn't ever see myself really going back into it. I enjoyed it more than I expected with the haptics on, because I think in terms of the haptic profile, the order of the games that we're talking about here, I'll probably start with the one I was least impressive with, and we're moving to the ones I was most impressive with. And Big Shots, the haptics effects were super overt, and as you mentioned before, it really added to the gameplay, because as you mentioned, field of view is a problem in this game for me, and having that spatial haptics gives you just another way to kind of gauge what's happening in the game, and allowing you to deal with problems before it becomes a problem.
Right. And everything you're doing has haptics. the different guns feel different, right? You got the haptics, the flamethrower, even I don't know if you use the boost thing in the middle much, but that's like, a jetpack, or like you're in a rocket or something. You can feel it. You feel like you're kind of like lifting up. It was really cool. I found myself playing this a lot longer than I ever have, because I actually played through a level and beat the boss and did all, got to the next thing. And I was like, fuck, I never did that before. I enjoyed this a lot more. And I felt like, I just felt more into it. So, I was probably most impressed with the haptics in this, just because everything felt like they made it, something, the haptics do something. So
Yeah, that's what Eric said too, is that the one that impressed him the most was the big shots. Um, it was very impressive. I made a mistake with this game though. Um, with Legendary Tales, I started over, started a new character, started from the beginning. With Hellsweeper, I started over, started a new character, started from the beginning. With big shots, I just ran in and said, I just want to check the haptics out really quick. So I just started a game, and it already had my save from before, and there were things I couldn't remember how to do in this. So like I was playing kind of with the arm tied behind my back, because I couldn't remember how to do the special move thing with the canister, or there was a lot that I forgot about how to play this game. So I was basically just running around in my mech and shooting things. Um, Luckily, after a few minutes, I remembered how to use the jetpack turbo boost or whatever and start flying around. But yeah, like I said, the haptics were way more overt in big shots than even those other two games. It was really impressive and really added to the gameplay.
yeah.
Boognish66 says Metal Hellsinger will be epic with audio haptics. That's a good point. Pistol Whip, there's another good one people keep bringing up. Yeah, there's a lot of them that you're going to be able to play out of the box with just the audio mode. Now, you do have to buy the audio cable separately. I don't think that it comes with the vest, but it's just a regular stereo auxiliary cable. So I don't think if you don't want to shell out whatever the price is for their auxiliary cable, I'm pretty sure that anyone will work. So yeah.
Does it plugs into the vest and then plugs into the PlayStation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it works. You basically
I saw the adapter.
Yeah. Yeah. So the kit that you get from bHaptics includes a Y adapter, so that you can still use your headphones and run the audio to the vest. So if you're not playing, if you're using this on PlayStation, you'll need that Y adapter so that you can still get sound in your headset. Probably not as necessary if you're playing on PC and can run multiple audio sources. But on PlayStation, you'll need a Y adapter as well. That's a good point. Anyway, last but not least, and the game that I thought that the effects were most impressive for me was Breachers. I was kind of surprised, because I talked a little bit with Eric about his experience, and he just kind of brushed over Breachers and didn't really. He said he played it a lot, but he didn't really talk a lot about the haptics. And I thought the haptics were super fucking awesome in Breachers. And not only was this my first time playing Breachers with a haptics vest, but it was my first time playing Breachers on PlayStation VR2, and it's a really good port. But anyway, the obvious things were there, right? Like the recoil from the guns, all really strong, not only in the arms but in the vest as well. But things you're not even thinking of, like the grappling, scaling up and down the walls, busting through windows. You can feel all of that stuff in the vest, and it really added a cool dimension to the immersion in Breachers.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, I guess I didn't really breach through a window. I should have breached through a window. I had a weird experience. Well, not weird in a sense, but like I went in and I was telling you, realized I don't have a PlayStation Plus anymore, and that I don't plan on getting it from Sony anymore because I don't want. I'm just not a big fan of Sony right now. But so I ended up playing with bots, right? And the bots were really good actually. But I feel a little guilty, Wes, because yesterday I was playing and then I quit, right? And then when today, the first game I went back in, I started the PlayStation up and all of a sudden I'm in the buy mode. And I thought, oh fuck, I'd left the AI in there. Like, and then I just bailed on them. They were just standing there for a fucking day waiting for me. I felt so guilty. But then I went in and bought some shit and I was kicking ass. And that's why I love playing against the bots, because I was really good, Wes. Like I'm telling you, crack shot. And but I was very impressed with the haptics in this. Again, another game to know where it's good to know where bullets are coming at you if you're getting shot from behind or something. And then of course just the normal, like you said, the recoil and that type of stuff for the wrist was cool. So
Yeah, it was really good. And this game in general, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Like, because this is a really fun game if you're not playing it every day. For me, it's like these sorts of games are really cool. It's a really nice departure from the typical military shooter. But with a limited number of maps and a limited number of play modes, if you're playing it every day, it gets repetitive. So you have to give it a break for it to really be as good as it is. At the same time, if you're not playing it every day, then these fucking dudes are gonna own you, right? Because they
right.
do play it every day and they love it. So, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. And like most multiplayer games, I highly recommend if you're gonna play it with your friends.
Play with a vest and
Yes.
some wrists. It's
Yeah.
definitely an amazing experience. Now, this is the thing too, Wes. I saw a couple people in the chat say it, and this is what Dee said. Their only problem is the cost of it, which it is a good amount of money, but it's a lot of technology in there, right?
Yeah. I mean, it costs that much for a reason, right? And there's a lot of modules in there. Not only that, but these batteries are hard fucking core, man. Like they're going, I don't think I got below 90%
No, they last
at all.
forever, dude. And you play for
Yeah.
hours, and they're barely even used. They're really good, high quality product. My suggestion for anybody that would say that it's too much for what you would want to spend is look for it when at a sale at Christmas. Didn't we see it on sale at one of the holidays, or maybe it was at one point it was
It
on
went on
sale.
sale. It goes on. It doesn't go on sale often, but it does go on sale. So,
Right.
definitely, if you think it's out of your price range and you don't want to save for it, then just keep an eye on it because it will go on sale, and you might even be able to pick one up secondhand, like Roy Schwartz did. So,
Correct.
um, yeah. So it's certainly cool. It's a cool thing, and it's a unique thing, right? It's not something that there's a ton of different products that are providing this experience, right?
Right.
There's pretty much just bHaptics. I mean, there's other stuff in the PC realm that doesn't work as well and costs more money.
Mm.
But this is the premier haptics company in the space, and it's expensive for a reason. Trust me, if people weren't buying them at this price, then they would have dropped the price,
Right.
right?
And it's
But
there's the technology to sync it with all of everything the way it does through Bluetooth is amazing because there is no lag. It works perfect. So
Inferno 9 says, I think it's 18 hours per charge.
that's crazy.
That is crazy considering all of the different energy it uses to energy is something. I don't want to get off on a fucking physics lesson here, but you're just converting that that electrical energy into kinetic energy, and your body's absorbing it and you're feeling it. So there's a lot of energy in that battery, and it's being used up a lot at any given moment when those things are vibrating. So the fact that it lasts as long as it does is just kind of insane to me.
Yeah, that's crazy. How long do
He'll
they
run
till
you.
they make a one for prawn, like a
Well, I guess
sleeve
you
or
could use the
something?
audio mode. You could use the audio
Yeah,
mode, right?
God, yeah, you could. Yeah, for sure. Well, it might work better for women, but
GameCat Photo Nutter wants to know, how does it fasten? It's a heavy vest with a zipper on front, and then there are straps on the side that you just pull the strap and it tightens down to fit your body. Um, those straps are elastic, so they have a little bit of stretch in them, so you can get this thing right up against your skin without it without it getting too uncomfortable. You
yeah,
can set it to what you need it to be,
yeah,
basically.
yeah, definitely. This is the thing. I would question if somebody's an enthusiast. Like if you were like, I don't need this, then you're not an enthusiast. No, actually, I don't. I was one of those people that said I don't think it would be something that I would get anything from it, but I actually enjoy it. It's cool. I mean, I don't know if I'd be using it every single time, but it adds something to the experience. So
Um, Time to Play VR says, I bet it would work on mobile games. It'll work on anything you can plug into it. So like PSVR1 gamers, you can use this to play your PSVR1 games on it, just in the audio mode. Now, as far as VR gamers, like modern VR gamers, um, with their support for PSVR2, they now have completed the trifecta. Like it works on PC, it works on Quest, it works on PSVR2. It doesn't matter which of the major VR
right,
platforms that you play on, this thing works on all of them. And the
good
library
point.
is only going to continue to get better.
Like 200 games on PC. Dee's been playing Rush, and she said that one is amazing. She
I need
didn't
to get
think.
back to Rush.
Can you imagine like when you're flying, just the all over your body, you're feeling different things. So
Yeah. So Roots and I haven't talked to him about this, but I assume that we're going to continue playing with this, not only on PlayStation VR, but we're going to continue using it and really experiment with it on PC as well.
yeah,
So we'll regularly come back to this topic and talk about bHaptics going forward. Um, we didn't do any kind of paid advert for them, but they did send us this equipment
right.
um,
Which I
free of
appreciate.
charge. So we're going to give you our honest opinion about it, but it's awesome. So we're just going to continue to use it like we would any other accessory that people send us. We're going to use it. We're going to play with it, and then we're going to let you know what we think about that. So that will include the audio mode. I want to play some of these games we just mentioned, some of these musical games. Old Darth has a good point. I imagine Wipeout would give the same effect. Um, I would imagine Rush on PC probably had a profile for it, right? That's how she used it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the I don't know. Some games she had to download a mod. I think Light Brigade was one of them. And then the other ones, like they have something that I guess it's called Mellow or something. It's an app that
Right.
runs everything, kind of like the hub that you get for your phone. Um, so and
Cool.
Vertigo 2 works out of the box, or at least a version of uh, you know, without anything.
We can do propagation with it now.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. Something like propagation or something where you're supposed to feel things or little, that could actually be a very beneficial game to play it with, right? So,
Yeah, it's awesome.
Time to Play says, you
Um,
know who else likes to play with it?
My
Oh, yeah, she
mom!
loves to.
anyway, A plus. Like we had a really good experience with it on the 4 titles that are supported on PlayStation VR2, and I would just keep an eye on that list because I imagine it's going to grow pretty quickly. And again, we'll continue using it, continue doing content on it going forward. Just stay tuned for a lot more on bHaptics.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. I know that I guarantee you there's some of you that already own this vest. All you have to do, and you have a PlayStation VR2, all you have to do is download that app on your phone. It's called the bHaptics Hub. I got it from the Play Store, and you can get into these games. You know, I'm assuming everything's, you know, out there. So
yeah. Yeah, and like I said before, it works just like the PC one works. After you start the PlayStation and hit the play button on the app, you don't have to start it and stop it when you change games. It just automatically picks it up when you change games.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really easy, very user friendly, and you know, I thought it was going to be difficult, and it was literally downloading an app and pairing your items and pushing play. It couldn't be any easier. So
D says I need to stop by on Wednesday race night when we play Rush. I've just got so much stuff I do on Wednesday, D. Not only, you know, with work, but I do without parole on Wednesdays.
family
So it's
too, right?
It's kind of difficult. Yeah, there's that too.
We got to get a little family time in.
Anyway, pretty awesome. Thanks again to bHaptics for sending these over. Like I said, we'll be talking about them a lot more going forward. But with that said, Ruuts, we've got a bunch of VR news to talk about, so let's get into some headlines.
Cause we don't do small, better talk to me nice if you're talking it all. And you better get your back off the wall where you're holding it up like it's about to fall. Want more cause it's never enough. Locked in like I'm wearing the cuffs. Pull up to the front of the club. Everybody looking at us. There ain't no need to be shy. Come on and step on inside. Watch the way we do it. That we can make ya.
Frenzies is a neon-soaked, wildly chaotic multiplayer shooter coming to PSVR2. This from the PlayStation blog. Welcome to Frenzies, the wildly chaotic and stylishly slick multiplayer shooter coming to PSVR2. I'm thrilled to share some more information about Frenzies following its unveiling. If you missed that, here's our announcement trailer that gives you a taste of Frenzy's unique blend of fun and chaos. And that, of course, is the trailer that we just watched.
As you've got to verify your age to view it, by the way, Wes, because I'm not logged in and it won't. That was crazy. That was a very, very age crazy trailer we saw.
There's guns in it, Ruuts.
Oh, that's right. Never
There's
mind.
Guns in there. Yeah. This is from a UK studio.
There you go.
In Frenzies, you're thrown into a winner-takes-all showdown across 5 rounds with a randomized lucky dip of round types and maps that ensures that no 2 games are ever the same. Frenzy's mixture of solo and team-based round types means that 1 minute you'll be forging friendships and working together to pick up a win, and the next you'll be trying to take those friends down in a frenetic free-for-all. Right from when we first started working on Frenzies, we wanted it to have a real sense of fun. We didn't want to create a straight-laced military sim, and instead took our inspiration from bombastic arena shooter classics such as Quake and Unreal Tournament. We felt that by taking the essence of those games and sprinkling a dose of unpredictability, we'd land on something that's easy to play, challenging to master, and leaves you with a big grin on your face every time. We think that there's something for everyone in Frenzies, and even experienced VR shooter fans will have their skills tested in new ways. Our round types also play a huge role in building this sense of fun. Alongside traditional modes like Team Deathmatch, we've got creative to build new round types and some interesting concepts that make great use of VR. My personal favorite is Glitter Pig, where you'll be running around trying to grab hold of this giant squealing pig. You've got to be the one holding the pig for the longest time throughout the round, but that's easier said than done when your opponents can easily track you down and your big porky friend. Across InDream's family of studios, we've been pioneering VR game development for over a decade, including acclaimed run and cover gameplay that featured an award-winning Fract and Synapse. Run and cover feels satisfying and tactile, but also highly intuitive thanks to the power of VR, and we wanted to bring it into multiplayer with Frenzies. Multiplayer works incredibly well in VR. You're in a shared physical space with other players, able to collaborate, compete, and interact with each other and the environment in many ways. One of my favorite ways that we've really leaned into this with Frenzies is through gestures, replicated one-to-one in the game. Gestures enhance both the tactical depth and the social interaction of each match. For instance, you can communicate with your teammates using hand signals, taunt opponents with certain expressive gestures, or even engage in a quick game of rock, paper, scissors. Evil game. We're excited to see those types of interactions play out in Frenzies. In Frenzies, everything is dialed up to 11, from the neon-soaked arenas to the oversized weapons, and you'll need to match this energy when you step into the arena. Unpredictability reigns supreme in this game, and humility will get you nowhere, so flaunting your victories and taunting your rivals isn't just allowed, it's encouraged. Showboating only works if you look good doing it, and nothing screams bravado more than the ultimate killer suit, the onesie. Our onesies are colorful and playful, and you can choose from dozens of designs to customize your onesie and express yourself through unique visual identity. Team your onesie with a digital face, glove, and kicks, and to create a look that will turn heads in the arena right before you land that perfect headshot. We've got so much more to share in the coming months, so be sure to wishlist the game now on PlayStation Store. Until then, start picking out your dream onesie, and we'll see you in the arena soon. So, another PSVR title from InDream's Ruuts. This one a little different, yet the same. They take that run and gun mechanic that made games like Fract and Synapse so good, and putting it in a multiplayer setting. But I guess it's important that we should point out that unlike those two games, this game will not be a PlayStation VR exclusive at launch. It will also support MetaQuest platforms, and it will support crossplay when the game launches later this year. What are you thinking when you see this move into multiplayer from InDreams?
It looks fast paced. It looks like it could be fun. Depends on the game mode. Some of the stuff sounds bizarre when they're describing it. I'd like to see. I'm just gonna scroll down a little bit because Tex wants me to verify my age. I'm not gonna do it though. I refuse. So you have no idea what's behind these locked doors. But yeah, no, it looks intriguing. Looks like it could be fun. I know that's one of the things that they did the best with those two games is the shooting, right? So it could be good. I'm curious how much it is. Tech or somebody was asking if it's free. I doubt it's free, but hopefully it's not too expensive. And then that way you can get a good lobby because it is multiplayer. And yeah.
Yeah, similar thoughts to what I had about it. Obviously, I'm typically a single player gamer, but I can get into a multiplayer game from time to time and have fun with friends. And this certainly seems like a different one, right? Like the fact that they're putting everything on random, I think that can be good for a while. It does kind of worry me that they're taking the choice away from the player and making you play whatever map and game mode that they choose.
Right.
But it's a unique way to keep the matches fresh, right? So You don't get in here with your friends that specialize in one map and one game mode, and they just keep going in there and owning you. You have to be good at kind of everything to get good at this game.
Yeah. Steve Iyer says if they try to monetize this game, it's dead on arrival. But what about the onesies, Steve? You don't want to buy like a blue onesie, or that was weird too. Like, I don't know. I don't have a problem with them like adding, stuff you could buy if, and there's a big if, it's free. If it's free, that's how you know what I mean? That's the model.
Yeah.
Then I'd be all for it. But I don't think that's going to be the model. I think it's going to cost money, and then I agree 100%. I don't really want to see extra things that you could buy in there. Or if they do, add it a ways away and let the game succeed first before you start bombarding people. Because if people want to spend money to support the devs and pay for skins, I'm all for it. But it just has a bad look if it's early on, or it can, I guess. So.
Yeah, it's tricky, man, because multiplayer only in VR is a huge gamble. On the one hand, it's in dreams, and they typically always put out something that's quality. On the other hand, you can crash and burn in a multiplayer game in the span of a month, right? If you don't get it right. You gotta get players in there from day one, and you have to keep them engaged for years. You know what I mean? And that's a tough thing to do. I really wish that more of these multiplayer games had a single player mode too. And I'm sure you can get in here by yourself and play with randos, or they may even have bots that you can play against. But that's not what I mean. I mean, if you go play like a Call of Duty or something like this in the flat space, you've got your campaign, and then you've got the multiplayer mode. The campaign is what draws people in. The multiplayer mode is what keeps people there for years. But in VR, with these smaller studios and smaller development budgets, we see these people developing these multiplayer only games, and that can work. And when it does work, it works big, right? Like Ghost of Tabor, for example, like hit the jackpot with multiplayer. But the problem is that 90% of these multiplayer only games fail in VR because you're already dealing with a small user base in general for VR. So you have to capture a good percentage of that to keep your lobby active. And then again, keep them engaged. I mean, we just saw Zenith, go away. It's a different type of game, but it's the same principle, right? Like you've got to have people in there. So I don't know. It worries me for them. It is a big risk. I hope that it is free to play. I think they have a much better chance of succeeding if it's free to play. And I think that they could work monetizing this through skins and things, because the game does have a very striking art style. It's one of the things I like about it is the way the game looks, at least from the footage. So I feel like that they can get creative enough with in-game purchases that they could make something with this. But again, they've got to get players in there on day one, and they have to keep the content coming. We need more maps, new game mode here and there.
Well, here's the thing too. Like, more maps. Like we shouldn't have the game release with those words coming out of our mouth on release. Like, don't release until you have enough maps to make it worth playing, because it's going to be the biggest gripe from everybody. There's a good variety of different maps, a good variety of different modes. I don't know if that's even a thing here as far as, or if, it seems like their modes are what they are. But it needs to be reasonably priced, so that people are going to actually, the lobbies will be full. One of the best examples, even if you just did it like a timed thing, Pavlov, granted it was a long time, but they started at $9 or $9.99, and then now it's not $9.99. And so if you even did like 6 months or just the first 3 months or whatever you could get away with, because I don't know how it works with in the industry, but you know, get people, give them incentive to get in there and make the game fun, and you'll be fine. You know, so
yeah. So I'm hopeful for it. You know, with it being in Dreams, I do give them the benefit of the doubt. I think it'll be a fun game, but sometimes that's not enough with multiplayer only. So keeping my fingers crossed for this one that they're able to make it work out. Stay tuned. We'll be playing it when it comes out and let you know more about it.
Yeah, and one other thing too before we move on with it, Ghost of Tabor, the community and using content creators and creating a buzz, and I mean they're a perfect example of what marketing is supposed to be. That's one of the reasons why they succeeded so well. And the game is amazing, but like most developers don't market at all. And that's why the game doesn't have a really big pop when it comes out. Right. So
they're getting better about it. You know, certainly back in the day when we were getting a different, you know, cold drop every week where games were just launching. You didn't even know they were coming. And then failing. It used to be a big problem, but the cat's out of the bag now, and developers are kind of learning that it's not enough just to launch your game. You got to be able to hype around it, especially games like this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No.
Anyways,
Alejandra. Alejandra D. The cat allergic game cat says he got here super late, but I got here. Well, we appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Thanks for showing up. Welcome. Says time to play. Just in time for our next new game to talk about.
My name is Alice. This facility is abandoned long ago. There is something I wish to ask of you. The facility is without power. I am similar to you, trapped here. I have been down here for so very long. Could you come down to where I am? Please do. I will be ready.
VR survival horror title Hello Cruel World launches August 1st. This is from bloodydisgusting.com. Indie horror developer publisher Acapara Games has announced an August 1st release date for their VR survival horror title Hello Cruel World. Revealed during Dread XP's Indie Horror Showcase 2023, will head to MetaQuest 2 and Steam VR, has you scouring a long-abandoned trashy seafood restaurant 1,000 miles from the sea, hoping to gain influencer immortality by uncovering its secrets. Obviously, you find more than you bargained for in the depths of the restaurant. Hello Cruel World casts you as an urban explorer goaded by your live stream chat to check out the cash and grab, or the crab and grab, the aforementioned seafood restaurant that not only is teeming with technological decay, aka eye candy for your viewing audience, but as you soon find out, has a decrepit laboratory underneath its remains. The opportunity for views and fame are too good to pass up. Unfortunately, there's something else in the bowels of the lab that will have you fighting to stay alive. As one might expect, Hello Cruel World has you solving environmental puzzles, putting your ingenuity to the test. You'll need to think fast, think on your feet, and think outside the box. All the while, you've got your chat by your side to urge you on, but how far are you willing to go to sate their curiosity and the thrill that spurs you on? Ruuts, this one just kind of came from out of nowhere as I was doing show research today. But it's an interesting package on a familiar concept. So we've basically got your, your horror escape room here, story-based horror escape room, all stuff that I love. But a very different take on it as you play the role of this influencer guy, and you're pulling clues from your chat who are watching along, your virtual chat, who are noticing things that you can't see. It's a kind of the first time I've seen anything like this in VR.
Yeah, it definitely looks unique. I'm a little put off that it's not Quest 3 exclusive, but I guess I can deal with that. But no, I think it's actually, I think the whole premise around it is very intriguing. Just hearing it described gave me a chuckle because it sounds somewhat ridiculous in a way, but it makes me actually want to, like, seeing the trailer and reading that description makes me want to try it. I want to go with my chat in there, Wes, and I want to explore this trashy crab and grab and see if it's as scary as they say it is. It looks cool, different.
I wonder what it'd be like to stream this game, because then you'll have like two chats.
Well, which chat's leading you the correct way? Then you might, like I think I might be inclined to listen to the crab and grab, the game chat, but
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, what we might have to do, we might have to real time review it so that one of us can play and the other one can read the chats, both of the chats.
That would be cool. Yeah, no, it looks cool. Looks different.
Oldar says it looks like System Shock. It kind of does. I see the resemblance for sure. Gray Matter says, I wonder if there'll be streaming options where your real chat will be integrated into the fake in-game chat.
That would be
cool.
That would be cool, and that would actually be a very like smart integration, So
yeah, talk about immersing yourself, right? Like, you're in there reading all these fake comments, and then Gustavo Barandas pops up.
He's like, dude, Wes, get out of there. You're like, oh shit, this is real.
No, I think it's cool, man. I like original games. That's why we talked about Frenzies. That's why we're talking about this. Original concept, even if it is a bit of a repackaged genre. They say you have to think outside the box to solve these puzzles.
Yeah.
Which is promising as well. So yeah, I've already put in a review request for this. Hopefully we'll get a review key, and this is not going to be very long. 2 weeks from now, a little over 2 weeks, this game launches, and hopefully we'll have more on it then.
Yeah, super cool.
Anyway, with that said, why don't we move along to something people might be a little more familiar with.
Stare into the flame. Think of this fire as a beacon. Its warmth, its energy. Now, focus your mind on your wife and step into the void.
Metro Awakening, adapting the post-apocalyptic survival horror for PSVR2. This once again from the PlayStation blog. The the post-apocalyptic survival horror Metro series, based on the best-selling sci-fi novel series of the same name by Dmitry Glukhovsky, plunged players into an oppressively dark and dank underground network and the ruins beyond. Highly immersive and critically acclaimed, the franchise has spawned 3 games to date. Before the year's end, that count will reach 4. Announced at the State of Play this past January, Vertigo Games, creator of Arizona Sunshine and After the Fall, revealed it has spent the last few years working on an all-new game built for PSVR2. Metro Awakening is a standalone story set prior to the events of the original title, Metro 2033. I sat down with creative director Martin Deronde and game director Samar Louis, to discuss more about how this world has been adapted to VR and how they're keeping the title authentic to the series. One of the things that we did when we embarked upon this project was to reach out to Dmitry, explains Deronde. For us, almost like we were expecting him to come in and come up with another story for the game that was in line with the other Metro games. But instead, he came up with a very, very personal, emotional story for a new character. It also meant that our focus started to shift from taking a straightforward approach to a more story-heavy and story-driven approach in this particular game. And of course, the Metro series has always been known for the story that differentiates from other first-person shooters out there. But this time around, I think Dmitry really wanted to make sure that the story and the development of the characters was even more important. Part of our onboarding process for every team member is to play the games, of course, explains Louis. And so we look at what the strengths are of the franchise, and specifically on which of those strengths are translatable to VR. And some of the things that we noticed is the dynamic that they have been between stealth and combat, and always making sure that you're on your toes and that you're never really sure when people are going to spot you. That's something that works very, very well in VR. There's just something about creeping upon enemies, listening to what they're talking about. Of course, the nature of VR, you can physically sit behind cover, maybe you can peer through a hole in the cover, and then you can spy on your enemies. But rest assured for everybody that is a little bit more trigger happy, interjects Deronde, there's plenty of classic Metro action in the game. I think it's also good to say that the mainline games, of course, have Artyom, Louis continues. After the first game, he becomes a Spartan, but in Metro Awakening, our protagonist is not necessarily a combat expert. So with that in mind, it also fits better to have a bit of a slower pace to the combat versus narrative than the original Metro series. We were very happy that 4A helped us fantastically well with supplying all of the assets they have from those games. We were able to either use some of those assets directly or use them as a reference for most of the stuff that we built in the game. It's helped ensure that the game looks the way it looks. There are assets that we looked at, and we wanted to use them specifically because they play a role on the mainland series. We wanted to reuse them again. In our game, you want to also make sure that fans recognize those elements. And then there was obviously stuff that serves the purposes as references. And then there's the stuff we're almost regressing in terms of what would have looked like X number of years before the events in the mainland series. You're basically constantly looking for ammo, chuckles Louis when we asked if, like previous games, sourcing bullets is going to be an ongoing concern. We have this beautiful environment. We have this beautiful world. Our artists made sure that there's detail to explore. But you also need a reason to explore. And the main reason to explore every nook and cranny is just to find bullets. We figured it would be best to hide those in small packets, so you won't necessarily find full clips all the time. Instead, you'll be finding single bullets out here, a couple of bullets there. And we've also made an effort to make sure that in some cases that there's a bit of environmental storytelling around how that ammo got there and something that triggers your imagination. The philosophy we've taken along for this is also that basically, if you look everywhere, you're probably going to have enough bullets to get through your combat encounters. If you just look on the critical path, you'd probably be a better shot. And if you don't scavenge at all, then you're going to have a hard time. Of course, you can always fall back to stealth. If you're successful at that, then that's always an option. Wiping your gas mask clean, pulling out maps, peering at ammo counts on guns rather than UI helped immerse you in Metro. I ask whether that makes for an easy VR adaptation. Vertigo's research proves it can't be a like for like. It's an interesting point you bring up about clean your gas mask, because Metro is such a tactile world. It was obviously for us something that we definitely wanted to try and incorporate in the game. We tried to come up with an alternative way of wiping clean your gas mask that I think fans will very much still appreciate, even though it's a slightly different version and wiping it when you have it on your face. We chose to keep a lot of our UI and interactions as diegetic as possible. For example, if you want to see how many bullets you have left in your gun, we could have put a counter on it, but we didn't do that. Instead, we opened up the clip so that you can actually see how many bullets are in there. So if you want to know how many bullets are in your clip, you have to pull it out. It's just a bit more immersive when you go into a combat encounter and you're like, okay, let's prepare. I'll pull out my clip. Check. That's going to be enough for this one, and then you snap it back in. If you want to put on your gas mask, we put it on a backpack. So you pull out your backpack by grabbing it from your shoulder. The gas mask is hanging from it. You just have to grab it from there and put it to your face, and then you stick it on. Those are the types of interactions that we're very keen on just making them as diegetic as possible. The adaptive triggers are a great example of how you can boost the immersion even further, because they give you just a tiny little bit of extra feedback as you fire your weapon. And our weapon designers actually had a lot of fun implementing it and tweaking it for each weapon. It seems like a really small thing, but it is kind of one of those subtle elements that make you forget you're playing a game when it's just there, right? Another example is the haptic feedback. It gives you that little bit of added experience to make the intense things that will happen to you in this game, to make them that bit more visceral. We want to focus on immersion, states Louis. So our default locomotion setting, we're offering 2 presets. So we have comfort and we have immersion. In immersion, the default locomotion setting is continuous stick movements with snap rotation. Of course, we offer settings that you can just change in the settings menu and make something even more immersive, such as continuous rotation. If you want to have a bit more of a comfortable experience, then you can set your locomotion settings to teleportation. That said, we're not really shying away from pushing the boundaries of VR when it comes to creating a visceral experience. So, in immersion mode, you can also expect to be moved around a bed or knocked over to wake up unconscious on the floor, or even be thrown off a rail car, for example. And that's it. It says this version of the interview was condensed for brevity. You can listen to a fuller version of the interview on the PlayStation podcast.
Why would you cut it off there, though? There was like, there's got to be a way to make it at least sound like it, and just like it's like somebody just fucking hit the guy over the head and he got knocked out.
Yeah,
mid sentence, you know.
Yeah. You could say that Metro Awakening comes to PlayStation VR later this year. Stay tuned to PlayStation blog. You know,
something.
Your typical conclusion, right?
At least conclude it. Yeah, let it end. It let people know that it's over, so they're not scrolling down looking for more words. But
Metro Awakening Ruuts. You know, when we heard this was coming from Vertigo Games, you kind of get a very clear picture in your head what you're expecting the game to be, because Vertigo, as good as they are, and they are very, very good, they're not known for versatility when it comes to these games. They have a type of game that they make. which kind of makes you worry whether or not they're going to be able to reproduce the Metro experience. But with that said, the more I hear about this game, the more they say about it, the better I'm starting to feel about this being an actual AAA quality VR game and an entry into the Metro series that longtime fans of the franchise are going to want to play.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never played Metro before, Wes. Does that surprise you? I was like, everyone's talking about different ones they've played. And I'm like, I've never played any of them. My takeaway from this whole interview is there seems to be so much care taken into every aspect that I can't imagine it doesn't be good or it isn't good, right? Like,
right.
It looks the graphics and art style look phenomenal, and it just sounds like they're really trying to recreate this in VR, and so I have high hopes for it. You know, I don't have any expectations because I've never played any of them, but it looks cool. So
yeah, it's been in development for over 3 years at this point, and that's pretty cool. That means pretty much that they rolled straight out of After the Fall and started on this, even while they were developing Arizona Sunshine 2.
yeah,
But that's what we want, right? We want these projects that take many years to build. The type
Right.
of games that we want don't come overnight. I mean, they were purchased. I guess it was about 3 years ago that they were picked up by their parent company, which escapes me right now. But I remember even then we were speculating that Metro might be one of the things that they do. And it seems like maybe that's why they acquired Vertigo, was to make that Metro VR game from the very start.
Yeah.
Because that company has closed many studios. Like, it's picked up a lot of studios in recent years, but it's just picked them up and closed them. Not been the case for Vertigo games, which is good because Vertigo is one of the Mac daddies in the VR space. But no, man, they're saying everything cool, everything good here. It seems like they're planning on making a really tactile game. Again, talking about how you're going to interact with the weapons and items in the game. Really taking advantage of VR and taking advantage of the PlayStation VR platform specifically. I did find it a little weird that their immersive mode has click turning by default.
It gave me a chuckle, but you know, this is my thing because like in real life, nobody turns continuously. Everybody does a snap 45-degree turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not really immersive. But yeah, I guess you can call it what you want. I think at least we're getting to the point where that's the default for at least moving and not teleport. And soon, hopefully, continuous turn will also be. Because they're taking great lengths saying, okay, we want to make sure everybody's comfortable, and then we're looking at games like Frenzies, and they're like fucking going very fast paced, right? Like there's two different approaches. So
yeah, fast pace is not the vibe I'm getting from this game.
No,
I'm getting
tactical.
the vibe that this is very slow paced, stealthy game where you're scavenging for ammo and trying to avoid conflict when you can.
Rich in story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and it's cool that they've got the original writer of the novels and the games to write the story for this, and obviously take a great deal of care in producing a very nuanced story here. So that's really exciting.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Is like they seem to be taking care with such great care with everything to that as well, and then the developers getting excited about and really making each adaptive trigger its own. Talk about a game that would be great to bring with bHaptics, right? Eventually, on top of all that other stuff that they just described. I think this would be a good one. So
yeah, just another banger coming this year, man. Like we talked about at the top of the show, there's quite a schedule for the remaining 5 months of this year. and we're about to, it's been a slow summer as it always is. Gamers drop off in the summertime, viewers drop off from our channel in the summertime. It's just the same thing happens every year. But right around this time, the games start to pick back up, and as we're going to talk about in a few minutes, we're already starting to see that happening. But we've got tons of big budget games that are scheduled for this year, and not very many that I'm more excited for than Metro Awakening.
Yeah, me too.
But one more headline before we get into the week's reminders. We got a pretty big announcement this week for a highly anticipated title. Into the Radius 2 launches in early access in July. This from mixednews.com. A realistic arsenal of weapons, detailed attachments, and a sophisticated loot system. Into the Radius 2 aims to retain and expand upon the best elements of its predecessor. Continuing the tradition of its predecessor, CM Games once again invites you to follow the development process all the way to the final version. Into the Radius 2 will launch in early access on Steam on July 24th.
Wow.
The development team is asking for feedback on this and future updates. The price for this pre-release version is $39.99. and will not change when the full version is released. Into the Radius 2 is an immersive VR survival shooter set in the surreal and dangerous Pechorsk safe zone. Players can arm themselves with realistic weapons and explore the secrets of the zone with friends. The sequel retains popular elements from the predecessor, Into the Radius, including detailed weapons and attachments, a sophisticated loot management system, and the ability to explore dangerous locations full of anomalies and menacing elements. A major new feature is the option for 2-player co-op, currently in beta. This will be expanded up to 4 players in future updates. Ruuts, so we've been following the development of Into the Radius very closely since it was announced, probably a year or more ago. We knew that it was getting fairly close to early access because we've been getting devlogs from them with increasing frequency. But even I didn't think that it was as close to launch as it actually is, as less than 2 weeks away now, the early access version of Into the Radius 2.
Yeah, that's crazy. 9 days. It's so could be here before the start of the bull run. It's a little over a week. So
that's pretty awesome, man.
That is awesome.
So I have talked to the developers a little bit since we covered this last. If you'll recall, last time we covered Into the Radius 2, we did a fucking hour-long deep dive into their devlogs and really went over every little aspect of the game. And they got a hold of me immediately after that and thanked us for the detailed coverage, and also thanked us for emphasizing the fact that this launch, like the first launch, is going to be an early access launch. We've said it 100 times on this channel. When the original Into the Radius launched on Steam, it was not good. It's one of the worst, jankiest things I've ever played in VR was the original Into the Radius on Steam when it would first hit early access. But unlike some other studios that I'll refrain from bashing because we bash them every week, this developer has earned trust from us because not only did they fix what was wrong with the early access beta version of the game, but they went well beyond that, continuing to iterate on that game for years, past the point that it was already one of the best games on Steam. Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, I agree with you that they've proven that they support their games and continue and finish their game, you know? And I think that they've worked on it for years. So, yeah, I would, you can count on them to finish this game, unlike other, I'm so tempted, but yeah, other companies out there that just abandon games.
What do you expect for this early access version? Do you expect it to be as bare bones and janky as the original Into the Radius was?
No, I think I think it's going to be, I would expect it to be a lot more fleshed out, just because they have all that experience from the first one, right? So,
yeah, not only do they have that experience, but they have that engine built out, right?
Correct.
Like they were just kind of building the framework as they went the first time around, where now they've got an established and refined game engine to work in. Not only that, I think it's pretty telling to me a couple of things. First of all, the fact that they are going to have co-op in it from day one of early access, that's pretty impressive. Secondly, they're putting a $40 price tag on this from day one, which is fairly pricey even by today's standards. So I think that they understand that they're coming with something that's fairly polished right now. I think what we're going to see is a polished slice of the game, and then over time we'll see the game expand with the map growing and the arsenal growing, and then eventually being able to bring your more friends into the game with you.
Will it come to PSVR2, or are they still holding a grudge against Sony? Hawk107 wants to know.
I don't think that they ever held a grudge against Sony. I've talked to them about coming to the PlayStation platform multiple times in the past, and they've never really been averse to it. Like, they've always kind of held it as something that they would like to do someday. But this is a relatively small team here with not a big budget. So the things that they work on has to make sense financially. And sure, there was a point there that they could have brought Into the Radius over to PlayStation VR 1. But at the time that happened, PSVR 1 was already pretty much a dead platform.
Right.
So they're in this kind of in between space where they can just continue to polish the original, or they can start working on the next one for Steam. And they have announced this game for Quest. Obviously, they've announced it for Quest. That's where the money is. And that will be where their focus goes after they finish the game on Steam. But they're so far from that point right now that they're not even really talking about when it's coming to Quest.
Right.
They know that it will come there one day. So it may come to PlayStation VR2 one day. I think that it probably largely depends on the fate of the platform. Do players continue to buy these headsets, and do the numbers continue to grow on PlayStation?
Right.
I think if that happens, then after this game comes to Quest, I think we very well could see it on PSVR2. But it's going to be a while.
Yeah, that's the big thing, right? There's got to be players to buy the game before you want to put it on it. So,
right.
We'll see.
Gray Matter says it sounds like a job for VR Monkey. Absolutely does. After they finish it on Steam, they definitely could work out an agreement with VR Monkey to port the game for them. Typically, these deals are mutually beneficial from a monetary standpoint. So,
right.
I definitely think it would be a great platform to bring the game to. I think that they can, match or surpass the quality of the Steam version, as we've seen many other games do. So, I love the first one. I'm very much looking forward to the second one. I have confirmed that we will be covering this on launch. So if you haven't already, why haven't you subscribed yet? Why didn't you ring the bell? We're going to be talking about Into the Radius in a couple of weeks and tons of other cool stuff coming out as well. We're going to be playing with our bHaptics Fest and talking about that. Come on, people. Hit the button. What are you doing? Old Darth says, or flat to VR, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's not really our forte, but I don't think we would be against it.
Adverse.
The right, if the right situation presented itself, I think they might go for it. Anyway, really looking forward to that. Stay tuned. Probably be covering that in just a couple weeks' time. But with that, we move on to reminders. And let me tell you, Ruuts, there ain't been much coming out lately. The games are starting to come back this week. First of all, Witchblood is coming to MetaQuest this week, Ruuts, but in a new iteration, as this version of Witchblood will be featuring mixed reality. So this is a classic VR game, Ruuts, that I didn't know. Like when I saw the trailer for this, I thought, you know what, this looks pretty cool. Nice little diorama world, Metroidvania style game. That is touting over 100 rooms and tons of secrets to play through. Looks really cool. What I didn't know at the time was that this is an Oculus Rift game, Ruuts. It's been out for many, many years. They're only just now bringing it to Quest with mixed reality support.
Is it cross-buy?
I don't know.
Because I own it. I own it because I played this game. I played this game years ago. It's actually pretty damn cool.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I played it. It was I used to buy almost everything. And it's actually a pretty exactly what it said. It's like kind of feels like Castlevania-esque.
That's awesome. Castlevania, one of my favorite all-time video games, and I love this style. And if you look at the gameplay, I mean, it's pretty basic for a VR game, but it looks like a classic video game, right? The type of stuff that we always used to dream about, being able to play in full 3D one day. And right here it is. You're going to be able to set this diorama up right in your room with you so that you can play VR and kick the dog at the same time. And, I mean, intentionally kick the dog.
Well, that's the thing. You don't want to miss. So it's good that it's mixed reality, right? Spry says, I played Witchblood on Rift and got stuck somewhere and never went back. I think that's the exact same thing that happened to me now. I'm going to get to do it again, except for I'm smarter now, Spry. This time, I ain't fucking around. I'm winning this game. Witchblood is my bitch. So.
There we go. Bitch blood. That's what I call it.
Yeah, bitch blood. I'll tell you what. No, it's good. At least I assume it's the same game. So I think you'll like it. And I think this is something that I think is actually kind of cool as a mixed reality. Does it need to be in mixed reality? No. But doesn't really need to be in full VR either. Like you're literally looking at that with probably, I would imagine you get closer or more. I don't remember if it was like all darker or I don't know. It was definitely cool though.
6 hours of exploration and combat, hundreds of rooms, 40 upgrades, and 4 difficulty levels. You can pre-order Wishblood now from the Quest store, it says. So let's see what the pre-order price is on this.
I really hope it's cross-buy. I don't bet it's probably not, but
I hope it just at least has the same price on it as the this thing's only set like $7 or $8 on Rift. You can't pre-order it. What a fucking liar.
you son of a bitch. Tomislav Bezmalinovic. Actually, that name sounds cool. Never mind. I take it back.
Anyway, no, I think it looks cool. I'd like to check it out. I refrained from asking for a review key for it because I was just kind of hopeful that it held that price tag. If it's $7, I'd rather just pay for it and support the developer. You know?
Yeah, for real.
Anyways, we'll see. Coming out next week on the 18th. So, 2 more days. This game comes out.
Yeah.
And we will know at that point. But that's not all that's coming out this week. PC has a interesting looking little indie game coming out as well. Stellar Plans. coming to Steam this week. This Ruuts is a game that will put you into a world of fantasy and adventure. Without reading the full description of the game here, basically this is a game that starts you out and it allows you a choice of two different paths. You can take the left-hand path and become a human, equipped with human weapons like pistols and guns and stuff. Or you can take the right-hand path and become this kind of indigenous Warcraft creature that uses more, I want to say magic and like melee weapons and stuff like that. It's a really interesting take on a fantasy adventure game that looks to have some decent production value behind it, despite being a low budget project from a single developer.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? It looks pretty impressive for just one dude, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Explain some things. People are saying the interesting choice of music doesn't go with the game. It's just one dude.
Oh.
Here's the good thing. There's a demo. You can try the demo, see if you like it. You know, if you like the gameplay, you can check it out. You know?
Right. So I'm looking at pictures here, and there's like a medieval cell that's made up of stone and brick with iron bars, and in that cell is a robot talking to you. That's pretty fucked up, man. It looks like they have some physics-based interactions. I see a guy going down a zip line with only a crowbar hanging onto the line for him.
Right.
It seems like an ambitious project, but given what we know about the platform and having played similar games in the past, I think this game's gonna have a lot of merit to it, but it's not gonna be perfect, right? It's gonna come out. It's gonna be a little janky, and hopefully the developer makes enough money from his launch that he's able to continue to support the game and polishing it up over time.
Right. Does it say what the cost is?
I have no idea what the cost is. Yeah, I have no idea. I did speak briefly to the developer earlier today, but I did not ask what this game is going to cost. So it's planned to come out tomorrow. It says the 16th on Steam, but if you go down to the updates, the announcements on Steam, it says that it launches on the 17th.
Yes,
which would be on Wednesday.
So according to the Steam page, it says planned release date 16th. This game plans to unlock in approximately 17 hours, which would be sometime.
It says 12. It says 12 on my screen, but it could come out today. I know I asked him.
I haven't updated it since I pulled it up, getting ready for the show. That's why.
So I asked him for a key today so that we could check this out, and he agreed, but he said it would be a little bit. I don't think he knows exactly how to generate keys, to be honest with me. It sounded like this is his first launch on Steam, and he doesn't know how to generate keys, but he said he'd figure it out and send us one. So it'll probably be after the game launches, but I'm going to give it a look at least. Even though I do see a
demo.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to play the demo. I'm going to play the full release game. Because that demo, I think, has been around for a little bit, and I'm sure there's updates to the game since then. But it's interesting, man. I'm intrigued. Some talented devs can do a lot with the power of PSVR when they put the time and effort into it.
Right.
So, and this certainly seems like a unique idea. So,
yeah,
I think it's worth a look.
Yes, Shades of Gray Matter says it seems too ambitious for one developer. In my opinion, if one person can't make a compelling game alone, they should partner with others. But here's the thing: since we've been doing this podcast, we've covered several games that one or maybe two people did that were some of the best games out there. So, it's possible, and it'll be
Vertigo.
interesting. Yeah, Vertigo
2. Yeah, it all comes down to the amount of time that
Right.
gets put into it. Like one guy can make any game. It's just how much time do you have to make it, right? Like it took 7 years to make Vertigo 2, but it was still pretty much done by one guy. Anyway, hopefully it's half as good as it looks. If it's half as good as it looks, then it'll be worth my time to check it out.
Yep.
That's not all coming to PC this week, though. Another fairly notable title making its Steam VR debut.
One thing they never tell you in video games. It sucks coming back to life. Death's worse, I think. Can't tell, because they won't let me die.
Marv, this technology could finally turn the tide.
Time for them to meet the business end of my boomstick.
You're a mistake of nature. A mistake I intend to correct. Just one final thing for you to do. Die.
One thing they...
Swarm 2 making its way out of Quest exclusivity onto the Steam VR platform this week, Ruuts. Spider-Man with guns.
Spider-Man with guns. That's all I got to hear. I'm getting it. Actually, I enjoy Swarm 2. I think this should have came out on Steam already, but it's great that it's coming, and super cool.
Yeah, I agree. Glad that more players are going to get a chance to play this game. Very similar to the original game, but a bit different in structure, a bit more procedural, with a brand new roguelike progression system, which some people will love and others will not care for so much. But it does add some, adds a lot of replayability to the game, as you have to spend quite a bit of time progressing and leveling in this now, where you wasn't so much the case before. But it still has all the stuff you love about the original Swarm. It still has the movement, still has the same enemy types and the same type of gameplay. Yeah, it's a solid game, and I don't know if
still Spider-Man with guns.
Still Spider-Man with guns. I don't know if we're going to see any enhancement for Steam, but at the same time, it's not a game that really needs to be enhanced all that much. It's already got a cel shaded art style to it, so there's only so much you can do visually with games like this.
You have more particle effects.
Yeah, more particle effects. They can add some lighting and shadows and stuff into it, potentially. But the gameplay is what this game's always been about,
right?
And they already nailed that. So, Inferno 9 likes both Swarms, but he likes 2 more. So there you go.
Yeah, I liked 1 more, but I think I need to play 2 more to really be able to.
That's me.
So
that's me, and I'm hoping that there is some enhancement to it to give me a reason to put some more time into it and give it a look on Steam.
Yeah,
makes me wonder if it's coming to Rift with cross-buy, or if it's just going to be like a Steam only thing.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'd love to get cross-buy.
That would be cool. But for those of you who play on PC only and like these sorts of games, you don't have long to wait. This is coming out this week. But with that said, we can't leave PlayStation VR2 out of the party. It's getting a fairly significant port as well.
Most of the droids in this area.
Take this new orb and the next door will open.
Water from the mountain flow once more.
Windlands 2 soars on the PSVR2 this week with new enhancements. Spider-Man with bow and arrow, Ruuts.
It is.
No, I'm just joking. This game is much more than Spider-Man with bow and arrow. This is one of my favorite co-op games in VR. I loved it on PC. I loved it on Quest. I played it with my family. I played it with my friends. Story-driven campaign. Maybe I guess story-driven is technically
Loose.
true. I mean, it's not heavily story-driven, but there is a story here. It isn't just a pure platformer like the original Windlands. There is a lot of similar gameplay here, but there is combat in this game, and there's co-op in this game, which makes it really significant. And if you're playing, if you've only ever played this on PlayStation VR 1, you're going to love having a full-fledged motion controller here, because the Move controller somewhat crippled the PlayStation VR 1 version of this game, as there were certain controller functions that there were no buttons for on the Move controllers. So you were limited in your movement, not just by that, but the fact that there's no thumbsticks on it. So it even made it even more difficult to turn while you're grappling. So even just out of the box, just that alone, just having a full-fledged motion controller is going to be a significant improvement over the original PSVR 2 version, or the PSVR 1 version. But when I read this headline, Ruuts, it says that there are new enhancements coming as well. So let's read this article and find out what exactly the hell they're talking about. Over 5 years after its initial launch and 3 years after reaching the original PSVR, Windlands 2 arrives on PSVR 2 next month with a whole range of new features. I thought it was coming sooner than that. I thought it was coming this week. July 25th, this trailer says. So
it must be an old article. It does too. I thought says that it's free for people that already bought it on PlayStation VR 1. So that's super cool.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's a free upgrade. Released in 2018 on PC VR, Cytek's action adventure game blended the unique soaring grappling hook locomotion pioneered in the original game with bow and arrow combat. Windlands 2 later launched in 2021 for PSVR and last year on Quest devices, and it's now making the leap to PSVR 2 with a free cross-buy upgrade for owners of the original PSVR release. Notably, this new Windlands 2 port features a native 90 Hz refresh rate to match the capabilities of the new hardware, all while taking advantage of the headset's haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. Now that's interesting. Adaptive triggers with these grappling mechanics could be pretty cool. And the bow and arrow. Meanwhile, the game offers cross-play support with PC VR and Quest Edition, so you can play along with your friends on other platforms as well.
Nice.
Alongside the visual boost for the new hardware, expect the same 4-player co-op that the sequel offered over the original. The game received high praise on our initial review in 2018, ours as well. And those looking forward to diving into this new release can look forward to the PSVR 2 launch on July 25th. So not exactly this week, but next week on this one. Roots, this is a great game, and just to get this game in full 90 hertz with the PSVR2 controller features, um, I think it's great, man. I love this game even until this day, and to get an improved version of it that's improved at all, I think is a big W for PlayStation VR2.
Yeah, yeah, and the fact that it's free, that they're supporting people that already paid for it, is really good. And I didn't remember it actually working very well with crossplay, so they seem to have ironed that as well, which, as far as between different platforms. So I think it's a win-win-win, especially if you have never tried this game. It's, I don't know, it's a platformer, but it's with, swinging, with grappling, right? Super cool. And the fact that you can do it with your friends and the combat, it's just cool.
Yeah, agreed. It's a great game, and people are going to pick it up for free. And if you didn't pick it up originally, definitely worth picking up.
Right. Should be what, $20?
Again,
At least that's what it's been on other platforms, right?
It launched at 30 on the
Did
other
it?
platforms. Yeah, so I don't know what it's going to be on
Wow.
PlayStation VR2, but it's worth $30 in my opinion. That's a
Yeah, I
great,
just don't remember it
fun
being that
game to
much.
play. Yeah,
Maybe I'm just remembering like
it
that
was.
after it's been out for a while.
It may have dropped since then, but yeah, that was the launch pricing on it, was 30. Anyway, check it out, PSVR gamers. It's a fun one. We move along, Roots, to viewer comments. Quite a few viewer comments came in since we last did this. This one from Comic Book Guy GameCat was actually on a Patreon exclusive video. This was on, I believe, your Hot Wheels UEVR video, and it said, what's the best low-end PC for someone getting into PC gaming? And I put this in here because this is a question that we're seeing quite frequently lately from a lot of game cats, especially. And the answer is not an easy one, right? Because this isn't like shopping for consoles. There isn't like a big box PC that you could just go pick up out there that has a known price that everyone knows how much it costs, and that's just not how this works. Now, there are plenty of pre-builds out there, and some of them are a good value. Typically, though, the best value is buying your own components and building your own PC. And you might not think you're capable of that, but it's not that difficult. Pretty much anybody that I'm not going to say anybody, but most people that will take the time to watch some tutorials on YouTube, typically within a few weeks, will gain enough knowledge just from watching videos to know what to do to build a PC. And then you just order your parts accordingly and follow a video tutorial as you build it. That will save you typically $200, $300, or even more $100 building it yourself.
Well, plus all your components are going to be good. So this is the thing. When you buy a pre-built, there's going to be some shit in there. You typically
most of the time,
unless you're paying. I mean, especially if you're looking for, it's just difficult because the buzzwords that they use for these kind of games, and I hear it all the time. There'll be people focus on the wrong things. It's like the size of the hard drive, you know what I mean? Or things that just matter but don't matter when it comes to running your computer, right? So if you're picking your own components, you can pick, either the best, or you can get something that's comparable or maybe a little bit older, or there's a lot of options with it, right?
So this is what you need to do. You need to watch our Discord for multiple reasons. First of all, as we go into the holiday shopping season, or even Prime Days, I mean, the next 2 days are Amazon Prime Days. If there's a good sale on a pre-built or even components, people are going to be sharing that in the Discord. There's a few people right now that are looking to get into PCVR. And it's probably the hottest topic of conversation for the last few weeks on our Discord. So you should be watching for that.
True.
Get on there and share with people what your budget is, and people will volunteer the time to give you some advice on how you should spend that money and how you can optimize it to build a PC ready, a VR ready PC. And you'll get what you pay for, but you'd be surprised at what you can do with even a relatively low spec PC these days. Like what people consider low spec today is the equivalent of high end when I got into it. And for what it's worth, some of the games I was running on those computers back then are some of the most demanding PC games even still today. Games like Skyrim and Fallout and Stormland and Asgard's Wrath. You can run all of this stuff. Half-Life Alyx. You can run all of this stuff on a relatively modest PC. $800, $1,000 will buy you a PC that runs all those games on high settings. Where you're going to get caught at is once you move beyond that 1,000 mark and you start adding, to 1,200, 1,400, 1,600, you're now giving yourself not only the staying power to play new releases well into the future, but you're also giving yourself the ability to play mods, which is what I think most people are coming over to PC for right now in the first place, is because they want to play some of these mods with UEVR. So you say relatively low end. You need to be more specific. You need to let us know how much money can you realistically spend on one of these, and whatever that number is, you can go ahead and add $400 more onto it, because there's always more that you can do once you really put your mind to it and try to save.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. And it's definitely worth doing it for sure. But yeah, a little bit more information. Let us in the. We'll hit it in another viewer comments in a future episode as a part 2. Is what you mean as far as that? Because if you can save up a little bit more money and double what you were going to spend on your video card, it'd probably be worth it.
So Oldar says, for VR gaming, you need 32 gigabytes of system RAM and a video card with 12 plus gigabytes of VRAM. False. Do you want that? Yes, you absolutely want that. But you can play VR just fine on a system with 16 gigabytes of RAM and 8 gigabytes of VRAM. There's tons of people in our community that have those very same specs, and it works just fine. Again, where you're going to come into some trouble is in modding high-end flat games. That you're going to struggle with a little bit.
And he could be speaking from a perspective of, because if you're, at least from my perspective, if you're going to invest in it, you might as well at least try to future-proof yourself as much as you can. And so at minimum, I would say 32 gigs of RAM. And if you can get a 12 gigabyte VRAM, you're better. And even more if possible. You run these things? Yeah, you can. But like, why would you gimp yourself when you're already now? Maybe a few years from now, it would be a problem. So.
Yeah, obviously you're going to want to get as much as you can. But I'm talking about to play native VR games. 16 gigabytes of RAM is enough, and 8 gigabytes of VRAM is enough. Right. Again, it's the modding where those extra resources really come in. We're talking about wants versus needs, right? He says you need that. You don't need that. You'd like to have that if you can afford it. Definitely want it, but you don't need it. Bad Banta asks if I'm good because I'm shaky. I'm not. I have a habit of when I podcast of just kind of shaking my leg in the chair here. I'm not actually shaking. I don't have MS or anything, man. But thanks for calling it out, because I do it without realizing it. And then when I watch the video back, my head's shaking all over the place. It's just my leg. It's just me sitting here tapping my foot on the ground. Forey Willen makes a good point. He says you can always upgrade RAM later. That's true. So what you want to do, essentially, and this is my general advice for everyone building a PC, is you determine what your budget is, you cut that in half, and that half is your graphics card. And then the other half is everything else. The graphics card is by far the most important thing in terms of the performance of gaming. So you want half of your budget to go into that. And then you're going to spend, $200 to $300 on a decent processor, depending on, again, on what your budget is and what graphics card you have, and then take the rest of it and build it out.
Old Darth screams earthquake. Is there an earthquake? I'm not feeling it.
No, you better hope not. If we have an earthquake here, it's going to be the big one. We're on New Madrid Fault, which never has earthquakes, but when it does have earthquakes, they are historical. So
right.
Hopefully we don't have one. We had a Gerillo sighting in the comments. He says Riven and Half-Life are terrible games. What we need more of is free to play, but a million underwear costumes you can buy, parachute, and 32 versus 32 player free for all shooters. We don't have enough of these.
I have to agree, Drill, 100%.
It's a funny comment. I don't know what put him off on that tangent there. At first, I thought it was the typical Gerillo, like PC versus Quest thing. Typically, when he makes these sorts of comments, like snarky, sarcastic comments, he's trying to throw shade on standalone. But there's more of those 32 versus 32 free-for-alls on Steam than there is on Quest, so it can't be that. They can't be throwing shade at us for what we were saying during the episode, because we've been on the PC train for quite some time now and have been talking quite frequently about how we only want to play high-end VR. So he's not throwing shade at us. I think he's just generally maybe trying to poke people that like those games.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's just saying Riven and Half-Life are amazing. All that other shit is shit. And I have to agree, and a lot of respects of that. Well, there's a lot of good stuff out there on all platforms, but I don't know. Everybody's got a different taste. Some people love, games on their phone. I don't like that kind of game. Like, it doesn't mean the games suck. It just means that's not my type of games, and then not saying, not making any example. It's just that's a type of game that I don't care for. And some people love them. So,
you're right. There's good stuff on every platform. Man, I only want to play the good stuff, so that's why I have every platform.
Me too.
Main fan says the Retropolis 2 devs told me on the Steam discussions that it's 6 to 8 hours.
Wow.
So when we were talking about Retropolis, there was this guy in the chat that was throwing shade on the price of the game, because he was saying that it was like a 4-hour game for $25 or $30 or whatever it is, and we just kind of went along with it because I just assumed the guy knew what he was talking about, but I guess not. Main fan says that 6 to 8 hours according to the devs, which is awesome for a game like that. That's about perfect.
Yeah, 100%. And there's talks about in the chat about AMD and CPU, and this is my thought on that. Anybody looking to build a PC in the near future, I just think Intel's getting shady as fuck, dude. Like, some of the shit that they've been doing and caught doing recently, this is making me want to switch over, and I've never felt that way before.
That's odd.
Yeah.
I'd love to take this Ruuts back to past Ruuts and let him hear what you're saying.
It's crazy, man. I just don't feel like they're just seeing a lot of issues with the last few generations, and I just hope that they and they've been shady about it. That's the biggest thing. So hopefully they change course, or I think they're gonna start losing a lot of people. So
I saw Gamers Nexus headline earlier today. I didn't watch the video yet, but it was talking about that latest AMD chip setting benchmark records.
oh yeah, that's what Jim Hall was saying. My thing is its integrity, and if Intel is like doing stuff and deliberately screwing over their customers, like it might be time for me to bail. Like, I've been Intel my entire life, pretty much, as far as adult life. I love the CPUs, but like I've had to gimp mine, or at least put it back down to stock to have it run normal. And then they're trying to blame people, saying that like they have the servers that literally cannot overclock. As a matter of fact, they underclock their stuff, and they're still failing. And Intel's like, man, it's user error, dude. You shouldn't be overclocking. No, dude. It's bullshit. And
if you shouldn't be overclocking, then they should be locked chips.
Right.
If they're
That's
unlocked,
what I paid for.
They're unlocked for a reason, right?
That's why I got the K version. Exactly. Is because I want to overclock it. Otherwise I would have got one that's not overclockable. So it's just bullshit.
I always get the K version too, not because I'm a big overclocker or anything, but I like to be able to enable all core turbo.
Right.
And you can only do that with the K chips.
Well, that's the thing. That's an overclock. It's just one that's it's stock overclock. You don't have to do anything.
Right.
It's nice to have that option, right? But even that is causing issues. And so and my biggest problem with it, the whole thing, is if there's a problem, own up to it. Like there's clearly a problem, and it's clear that it's on their end, but they aren't admitting it yet, not wholly anyway. So
Lozik's coming through and supporting what I just said. I said, yeah, I had 16 gigabytes of RAM with a GTX 1070 with 8 gigabytes of VRAM on it, and I read mod games. I just had lower FPS on medium to high quality, but still playable. Now I'm just getting more FPS and on high settings with my 3080. So there you go.
Yeah, I agree. And Fluke says, oh wait, no, I guess I thought it was Fluke. Funk Hunter says Intel is better for game compatibility. I'm not saying it's not. I've always been an Intel person for that reason. My thing is Intel is the integrity of their chips. They're failing, and they're not standing behind their product, and that's a problem for me.
Well, what it is versus AMD, and the reason why AMD's been making ground on them for years in terms of technical capability, is Intel pretty notoriously hit a wall a few generations back where they were losing optimization with their move to smaller dies. So I don't remember if it was like 9 nanometers or 7 nanometers, but they hit a wall where they really couldn't get past it and keep up their usual quality standard. So what they started doing is just their chips became less and less power efficient and more power hungry, therefore generating more and more heat, and then leaving less overhead for overclocking. Naturally, the heat is your enemy, right? So that's where AMD is really taken the lead over Intel, is the fact that they've been able to hit those smaller die sizes and keep the power efficiency and heat down.
Right.
And I don't know what they're doing differently versus the Intel Silicon. I'm not that well versed in it, but this is a problem that people in the know have been anticipating for years now, and we're just now starting to see it really become a big problem.
Yeah, AI will solve it.
Yeah,
I guarantee it, man. They're already solving shit. It's crazy. But I'll tell you what, right now it is an issue, and my biggest issue with the entire thing is them not standing behind their product. Again, being one of the people that has a 14900K in there that did have it overclocked, and thank God I undid it before it did damage to my card or my chip, because they're not supporting it. Yeah, it's one thing if something happens and the company's like, hey dude, bring it in, we'll swap it out, whatever. And they're like, nah, it's not us, it's you. And I'm saying, you know what? It's probably you. I'm not at the point where I'm like, fuck you, Intel. But Wes, I'm close. Now, the more I hear about the story, I'm like, yeah, dude, I already got it in my computer. I wouldn't just rip it out, but it'll just mean I get a new board, which I was going to have to do anyway in my next upgrade, probably anyway. And I'll have
Here's
my
the
first
thing.
AMD.
If your next upgrade is an AMD, the update after that and the update after that, you won't need a new board for it.
That's
because
true.
The compatibility is so much better on their side.
That's true.
They don't make you upgrade every other generation the way that Intel does.
Well, Intel, this last one, they expanded and went an extra generation, and that's probably because of that. And they may be kind of making them try to last as long. But I agree, and I mean that's pretty much. I'm pretty sure I'm switching over just because I just don't see Intel changing soon enough. But who knows? Maybe. I get a brand new freshie 14900K. They admit everything's wrong. They say, Ruuts, forgive me. And I say, okay, cool. We're back in business.
So Corey Reviews asks, what PC will run high settings in 1440p with VR? Again, as we said at the top of the conversation, it's different with PC. There's not just like a bunch of PCs on the shelf that we can point to and say, that one, that's the PC.
Under $8 to $100, Wes. I mean, what run 4K at medium settings run VR under $800?
I didn't see $800.
No, it's the next one. It's a little bit further down.
Oh, okay. Under $800, 4K and medium. I mean, maybe if you're going to do something like that, you 100% have to build it. Okay. You have to build it, and you're probably going to want to find a used, graphics card, which you have to be careful about. Because a lot of these cards are used for crypto mining, and it really wears them out. So you have to pay attention to who you're buying from, and pay attention to, the condition of what it is you're buying. It's still going to be a gamble no matter what. But, if you can find like a 3080, like a used 3080 for $350, you could probably build a $800 computer that'll run 4K medium.
That's true.
You're not going to want to. You're going to want to run 1080 on high is what you're going to end up doing. But anyway, these cards aren't that expensive anymore. Like you can get 3070 is a pretty fucking solid card, and you can get it for $300. So $800 computer will play VR for sure. I don't know about 4K. 4K is tough to run at you can maybe run 4K 30 on a $800 computer. If you really work at maximizing your value and making the right purchases.
Funk Hunter says 800 is not enough. eBay prices on used stuff is still kind of high. I don't buy stuff.
You have to watch
eBay.
it. You have to watch it.
Facebook,
you have to watch for it.
Well, it's true, but Facebook Marketplace and stuff usually I find a lot more competitive and cheaper prices typically. Of course, it's a little bit sketchier, but it could be.
Well, no, Facebook's where I typically go to. I don't like buying stuff from eBay either. Facebook Marketplace is the place to go.
Somebody's face is attached to it, and they've got a profile, and if you actually look at it, and you can see if somebody's if they're a scammer, and most people don't want anything negative attached to that. It's like a bit. Well, I guess eBay's that way too sometimes, but they usually want a good reputation. So,
shop on Marketplace, on Facebook Marketplace. Always check out the profile of the person who has it up for sale, and offer them less money than what they're asking for it. Knock it down $100, $150, and then when they counter offer, it'll be something closer to what you can afford. But I mean, the 4060s and 4070s are such a good value now that the 30 series cards haven't held a lot of value on the market, despite the fact that they're very powerful and capable cards. So there you go. And I'd say watch the holiday sales, watch the Prime Day sales. I mean, you might catch a 3080 tomorrow for $400. You know what I'm saying? It's very possible. Main fan, we just talked to main fan. Rickaron 7593 says, I love using UEVR, but I'm a tech idiot and that can't begin to find and use a UEVR profile. Please, someone make a video showing click by click detail how to find and install a profile. I don't use a lot of profiles. From what I understand, though, it's not that difficult. I know that AJ on PSVR Underground is going to do these type of instruction videos.
Nice.
So watch that channel if you want to learn how to install a profile. But if you don't want to wait, go to the channel called Waifu Enjoyer. And there's video on there showing you how to install profiles as well.
It's not hard. I think you download it and then open into it, up into it, and close it, and or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just a few clicks.
Yeah. So, and you got to get. I believe they have links on their Discord to all the profiles.
Yep, that's true. Andrew Ehrenreich. Took me years to get Squadrons working. My laptop couldn't run it. My PC before I upgrade couldn't run it. I would get stuck on the first loading screen and do nothing. At one point, I tried Shadow PC. Couldn't run it. After all that time, I figured out I just had to alt enter and it would work. Anyways, Eve Valkyrie was way better and the game needs to come back. I never played Eve Valkyrie, but what you're talking about, we should have mentioned it on our Squadrons episode on Saturday, because it's absolutely true. The VR will not work in Squadrons if your graphics in the options is set to full screen. You have to either have it set to borderless or windowed for the VR to work. If it's set to full screen, it won't work.
That's weird, right?
It is weird. But it's the truth. Always play games in flat first and set your settings. I do this for mods. I do it for games, flat games with the VR mode. You'll have a much easier time if you get your settings in order before you start trying to play something in VR.
Yeah, absolutely. Old Darth and Roy Schwartz are both saying that Paradise Decay has a good UEVR videos, or has good UEVR videos. So definitely check out Paradise Decays as well. And see, I'm sure he's got profiles that he's loading in there and all that stuff. I don't, like you, I don't use profiles. I just want to play the games in VR as they were. Typically, I don't necessarily want to change it in any way. I find that most of the profiles I've tried have been a little off or weird or whatever. So
I like the idea of it. It's just the games that I've played so far haven't been games that I've wanted to change a lot.
Right.
I haven't done a lot of these, turning third-person games into first-person games with motion controllers or any of that. It sounds cool. I just haven't played those games yet.
Right.
I'll get around to it, and when I do, I'll be sure to share what bit of knowledge I pick up when I do that. That dank cheese. You boys really got me thinking about a HOTUS. I recently bought Squadrons on sale for $3.99, and with Ace Combat coming out soon, I think he means Aces of Thunder, for PSVR2. I think it'll be a worthwhile investment. I got gifted a race rig back in January, and that plus VR has changed my entire view on racing sim games. I can only imagine how good flying games are going to be with a HOTUS in VR. There you go, Roots. Somebody backing you up that if you're going to play a flying game, you need to do it with a stick.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's who loves to play with the stick, Wes.
I do.
Yeah. So this is the thing. I mean, I enjoy it. I think it depends on how you have it set up and then what you're used to. Like if you're really good if you've been playing this game forever, and with a controller, HOTAS would feel kind of weird. Like literally you could get in there and think, I don't like the way this feels because you've played so much of Star Wars Squadrons and you like it, so.
Yeah, like MC Schwartz. After playing through Squadron's campaign with the gamepad and then after with the HOTAS, I can definitely say I'm way better at the game using a gamepad. I have the same HOTAS that Ruuts has. Maybe I'd be better with the HOTAS with more practice or a more expensive one.
I don't know if the cost of it would make any difference. I mean, you probably have more buttons and stuff, but I mean, if you enjoy it, this is the thing. I enjoy playing games with gamepads typically. I just think a HOTAS really adds something to it.
I like the gamepad controls in Squadrons quite a bit, actually. I was pretty fond of how intuitive the switching all the controls and stuff were with the gamepad and the thumbsticks.
Yeah, that's done very well.
Cyan VR says, I've been waiting for NVIDIA to get their shit together with the power cable, and now I have to also wait for Intel to get their shit together. Looks like I've been waiting a while. Like, Cyan, that's what you do, bro. You wait.
He's patient, though, man. He waited for so long. He is very patient. By the way, Cyan, how do you like your Quest 3? I know there were some things you didn't like. You got to be liking some things of it, right? I mean,
he likes it. He doesn't like the comfort of it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you should have got the. Well, never mind. The Quest Pro is very comfortable to me, but I mean, it's antiquated. It won't play the best of the best VR. So, yeah.
I wonder what head strap Scion has on it. First of all, hopefully it's not the jock strap.
If it's
Second
the jock
of all,
strap, it's his own fault.
I think it's VR Kiwi just finally came out with a facial interface replacement for it, which is something I've been looking forward to for some time. I don't think VR Cover ever put one out, or at least they hadn't the last time I checked. But that's something I'm interested in getting. I'm using my Quest more often now for PC VR stuff, so doesn't mind having a facial interface for it.
Yeah, it's true. SpryGuy, it's actually very important. The facial interface face is the most important part, or one of them. SpryGuy says he doesn't like the weight of it. So, which is
exactly.
And that's why I was saying that fucking Pimax is going the wrong direction. Like I get it for Sims, and that's what everybody always says. It's just too big.
Actually, I read it. There's a Pimax article on the cutting room floor about one of these newer headsets where they've actually, for the first time, cut back that fucking monstrosity of a visor to something that's more in line with a regular headset now.
Yeah, cool. I think Big Screen Beyond is really the future. And I get it. It's lost some FOV and there's other issues, whatever. But it really kind of needs to be at the point where you almost don't even feel like you're wearing it. That's true. That's going to be true immersion, I think. And we're almost there because big screens got it. It's out. So,
yeah, micro OLED becomes a regular thing. We'll get better and better form factor.
Yep.
I just wish more companies would pick up the puck model for powering these things instead of putting it on the strap.
It'll come. It has to. I mean, that's going to take all the weight off your face. So,
where are we? Techno Glitch. Last comment of the day. I'd like to enter the VRIDER giveaway. Ruuts. We have a giveaway, bro.
I know. Again. I saw that and I was like, oh my God, we got a giveaway. That's actually a good giveaway.
Yeah. So we have a copy of VRIDER SBK to give away from our episode last Monday. Thanks to the good people at VRL Games who happened to slip a couple of codes down into our kits that they sent us. Awesome kits, by the way, Ruuts. How about that fucking shiny ass helmet?
That's amazing. That was super cool. I'd have to say the best kit I've ever gotten. And I ask anybody to prove me wrong.
So you guys know the drill here. Everyone that left a comment on that video to enter was given a number in a reply to their comment. We will now take these numbers to the random.org random number generator to see who has won the key. Let me see. I think we had 13 people enter. Let me see. Just want to make sure that we don't leave anybody out. Yep, 13. All right. Random.org.
Techno glitch. No, I'm just kidding.
Could be. I think he was entry number 1 or number 2. Although he did enter twice.
What?
Luckily, I caught it.
Tech. Trying to get slick there.
All right, 1 through 13. And we generate number 5.
Oh, that's not you, Tech.
It's not Tech, but it is alive.
The Johnny 5 is alive. Oh,
That's
MASH.
Right. 5 is Hussein X. Hussein X, congratulations.
Nice.
You have won, without a doubt, the most legitimate sim racer on the Quest platform. That's no bullshit. That's the truth of the matter. That's a full-fledged, fucking full-on, detailed sim with surprisingly good production value for a standalone.
Interesting
So, yeah.
thing is Tech would have been number 5 on his second one if we would have allowed it. Sorry, Tech. Yeah.
Anyway, you know what to do, bro. Hit me up on Discord, claim your key, and enjoy your game. That's how we do. But we can give away next week, Ruuts. I don't even know what we get. I mean, we've got some keys. You know, I've still got some keys from 2023 show, I think, that we haven't given away.
Oh,
people
Hussein,
never claimed them.
Hussein X is there. He says, "Oh, thanks. Nice.
Awesome. Congrats."
I don't know. It's a good question. I know Mickey Bear's been giving away keys. Quite a few of them.
Yeah, that's what that guy does. Watch the chat, ladies and gents. He just goes. He's a machine. He's a key machine. Anyway, we move along to our next reminder. This is the part of the show where we ask all of you to take a moment of your time to support the game devs out there. That they need our help. Their game's coming to the store. Nobody knows about it. How can we help them to tell people about it? Well, we can wishlist their game. And if enough of us do that, then the platform holders say, hey, wait a minute, a lot of people want that game. Maybe we should suggest it to people. So that's why we do this. It only takes a moment. All you have to do is join us right now in real time. Just a couple clicks and you've got something cool on your wish list. I am going to wish list Stellar Plans, Ruuts, because it's a dude. It's from a single dude. And you know this guy needs to sell some copies if he's going to be able to properly support this game and bring it to the to full realization, his concept. So
yeah,
that's who gets my support this week.
Yeah, it looks cool.
There's all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, there's Witchblood. That was a cool one. Into the Radius 2 coming out next week.
Witchblood.
Wish list that.
That is a good game. Kind of reminds me of what was that? The other one. The other what was that one game that was oh shoot, that was like not a platform. It was kind of like that kind of game, but it was on the original Oculus Rift. I'm trying to think.
Are you thinking of Chronos?
Maybe it was Chronos. Yeah, that was good, right?
Yeah, it was a really good game. It wasn't like a diorama, but it was a third-person hack and slash game with a pretty deep RPG progression system tied to it.
You
That's what made it so good.
Every time you died, you gained a life.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Right,
and
you aged.
You aged.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was good.
Have to revisit that one someday. People don't know about Chronos.
Yeah, that could be part of the classics. Actually, I need to revisit it for myself because I don't think I really got far enough. That was actually a game worth playing through, or seeing how far. I think it was. There's another game that came after it, right? Isn't it? Wasn't that a prequel to something? A big game? I can't remember.
Yeah. There was a game. It wasn't like a straight up prequel, but it took place in the same universe as another like big flat gaming franchise.
Yeah.
We're talking about a game here that was a pretty big budget VR game. It came out in the early days of VR. But it didn't stick like some of these other ones stuck, probably because it's fucking hard. And people put it down instead of playing it for a long time. But it was a legit, highly polished game and it holds up even to today's standards, I bet.
Yeah, it was real good.
Anyway, that brings us to our final reminder this week and every week, and that is how you can support us, our channel, and our community. Of course, if you haven't already, you should have already subscribed a long time ago. Like, it's the right thing to do. We're sitting here giving you this content, streaming for hours on end, and all we ask you to do is just click a couple buttons, right? So that YouTube pushes us up the algorithm a little bit more, and then maybe one day we can be the next Nathy. You want to be the next Nathy, Ruuts?
I don't know if we could be the next Nathy. He's so big, but I think I'd take half of what Nathy's got.
Maybe we can be Thrill Seeker, Ruuts. You want to be Thrill Seeker?
We could be. I think we could be Thrill Seeker. We're gonna do it today.
No. Anyway, appreciate everyone who subscribed. If you want to do something more, you can support us on Patreon, where as little as $3 per month gets you access to our weekly show notes, exclusive content, insider updates, and more, all for less than $1 per week. And you get to sleep at night knowing that you did your part to allow us to do cool stuff like buy flat games to cover and give away, or buy PSVR adapters so that we can report back to you on how well the PC support is.
Or HOTASes for Wes, maybe someday.
Hotai Ruuts.
Hotai. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Hotai.
Hotai. Yeah. So shout out to all the Patreons, and especially our newest patron, Andrew Ehrenreich, who just joined a couple of days ago. And thank you very much, Andrew. Be sure to keep an eye out on the channel for the exclusive content. We've been doing quite a bit of it here lately, and I've got another one ready to drop this week. My playthrough, my first gameplay impressions of Thrasher on the Quest platform, going up on Patreon this week. So,
wow. I'll tell you what, that game is really good. I know D was just asking about it. Stalling a little bit, Wes. I didn't see that we had a new outro. I was like, oh shit, a new outro? I've got, oh yeah, the notes. There it is. So that's the beauty of being able to things without actually switching over on the fly, even though I just switched over real quick. Yeah. Okay. But it should be 1 second. But
okay. Well, we won't leave until it's ready to run. Because not only that, we had some like name changes on there as well. It's weird, man. People change their name on Patreon, and so every time someone gets added to the list, I just kind of go back and check through the other lists to make sure that I'm not leaving somebody out. But then when these names start switching in Patreon, I'm like, oh, who the fuck is that? When did they join our Patreon? They weren't on our thing last week. Oh shit, I've been leaving people out. And then come to find out, I'm not leaving people out. They just changed their name.
I'm going to change
So we've
my
had
name
some-
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to change it to
to-
Intel Lover.
How about Ruuts? Maybe we should call
Ruts.
ourselves
There you
Ruuts.
go, Ruts. Then it would just make more sense, and then people would start calling me Ruuts. I guarantee you. That's just the way life works.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. We are good.
Anyways, we get it. If you can't afford to support us on Patreon, money is tight. Dollars are worth less and less every day. So we understand. That's why the Discord, the Virtual Strangers Discord, is 100% free. And that's where we spend all of our time. That's where we hang out with people. We're not chatting with people on Patreon. We're chatting with people on Discord. And all you got to do to join the conversation is click that little invitation link in the description down below. And you'll be whisked away into our magical little universe over there. And we'll greet you at the door, as we always do.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun time.
It's good times. Come over there and talk about building PCs. That's what everybody else is talking about right now.
There's so many different categories and conversations that go on. That's why I love it. So,
Indeed. And with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Ruuts, I'm Wes. We'll see you Saturday. Bye.
take it easy.